Welcome to Fact Fusion, where knowledge meets entertainment. Today, we're diving into the transformative world of The Secret Power of the Universe by Jenny Lovelace. This book reveals how to harness the law of attraction to manifest health, wealth, love, and success. If you're ready to unlock the secrets to achieving your dreams and creating the life you've always desired, you're in the right place. Sit back, relax, and let's explore the powerful teachings of this incredible guide. Let's begin. The Secret Power of the Universe: How to Use the Law of Attraction for Manifestation. Attract health, money, love, and success. Manifest your dreams. By Jenny Lovelace. Please note that throughout this book I will be using the words God, the world, and the universe interchangeably, as for me they are all one and the same. I will also be using LOA at times. Know that this stands for the law of attraction. The power within us. Have you ever noticed that this world was made to complete perfection? There is a reason and use for every single thing that you can see, taste, touch, hear, and feel on this planet. Everything works and fits together in perfect harmony. From the functions and shapes of our bodies to the little critters running around with a purpose. The sun is just close enough to the earth to sustain life, and we have a moon, which gives us just enough light when the sun goes down. With all this perfection around us, what makes us think that God has made the world unfair? Actually, nothing is unfair at all. This world was made completely and 100% fair to everyone, just as it was made so that everything in it works together like the inside of an old grandfather clock. How can I say such a thing when some of us are born into poverty and some are born into financial wealth? I say this because this universe was made to include the law of attraction. With the law of attraction, every human being on earth has the same ability to create their lives precisely the way they want it. It doesn't matter where you were born, how much money your family has, whether you were good in school or if you were born with no legs and arms. Everyone was born with the law of attraction, and it works the same for all of mankind. Of course, there are some things that we cannot change. If you were born with no legs and no arms, you cannot simply grow them. However, people who were born into similar circumstances as even this can still make the most of what he has been given. By using the law of attraction, we are all just as able as any other to create the lifestyle of our dreams. If you haven't heard of the law of attraction yet, get ready. This really is the secret to life. Some believe that the law of attraction is just a theory. This actually couldn't be further from the truth. Like the law of relativity and the law of gravity, the law of attraction is also a proven universal law that we cannot defy. The law of attraction states that we create things, events, circumstances, and the people that come into our lives by our thoughts and feelings. This means that we can have, do, or become anything that we choose by using our thoughts in positive ways. On the flip side, because there is no way around this universal law, the reverse is also true. We create every one of our own negative circumstances as well, simply by the thoughts and emotions we send out into the universe. This is not an idea, theory, or a what if. This is one of life's laws that each and every human being lives with. It is just like any other universal law for the facts that there is no way to avoid it and there is no way of changing it. It simply is what it is. There is one way, however, that the law of attraction differs from all the others. The law of attraction is the one and only universal law that we have the ability to control. We live in a world of cause and effect. With each thought and emotion that we have, there is an effect to it. There are two ways that we can use our thoughts. The first is that we can use them uncontrollably, which in turn gives us no conscious say in what the effect our thoughts and emotions will bring about. Or, we can learn to control our emotions in order to force the positive effects we desire into our lives. Like the other universal laws, the law of attraction has rules on how it works. When we learn how these rules work, we can use this law to our advantage and create the lives we otherwise would only dream of. Many people want to learn about the law of attraction simply for the sake of making more money, and that's okay. But you should know that the law of attraction can help you in every aspect of your life: money, power, fame, relationships, love, finding the resources you need, becoming more efficient in your talents, and so much more. Upon finishing this book, I urge you to take full advantage of this precious gift of the law of attraction. Put it to use in all areas of your life. Use it for financial wealth, of course. Everyone wants to be financially wealthy, but don't stop there. Use it to not only get the things you want, but also use it to become the person you want to be. Throughout this book I will be giving you a full explanation of how the law of attraction works. I will also give you many specific techniques on how to use the law of attraction effectively and efficiently so that you can create your world exactly as you please. Something was missing, but what? Before we get started on learning about the law of, I would first like to tell you the story of how I have come to learn of the law of attraction. I have added this and other interesting stories that pertain to the law because I personally believe they can be useful for you to hear. Hearing these stories will help give you a better understanding of how the law of attraction really works. This story in particular is a perfect example. Actually, it was my subconsciously using the law of attraction that brought the law of attraction into my life. I have always had a relationship with God, or so I thought. Before discovering the law of attraction, I had always talked to God on a daily basis. I honestly thought that I had a great relationship with Him and that our relationship was complete. I didn't know at the time that my relationship with Him could have been so much more than what it was. What I didn't realize was that most of the times that I talked to God was when I really needed or wanted something from Him. I was thankful for things that I had, but I wasn't necessarily always thankful for everything good in my life. I realize now that the relationship I had with God was nothing compared to what it could have or should have been. My gratitude toward Him for what I had was true and real, but that too, only went so far. I was thankful to God for when things went well, yet I paid little attention to those blessings when things went amiss in my life. I didn't blame God for the difficult times, but I would forget to focus on my blessings that I did still have. Looking back, it's no wonder that about 2 years ago, when I was 35, I felt something was missing from my life. I had a great husband, 3 beautiful daughters and a nice home. I had pretty much everything I needed to make me happy. Still, I felt there was more out there that could fulfill my life to a much fuller satisfaction. Back then I thought it was religion that was missing. I grew up believing in God, but I never had any specific religion, and I certainly didn't go to church growing up. As an adult I tried visiting many different churches but never found a religion that I felt was right for my family and I. Then one day there was a knock on my door. It was Jehovah's Witnesses again, as this was only one of many times that these 2 ladies had visited my home. If it were my husband who had answered the door, these nice people would have automatically received a door slammed in their face. I, on the other hand, have always been very open-minded. Most of the time I would spare a bit of my time and listen to what they have to say. I knew for a fact that I did not want to be a Jehovah's Witness. I don't have the same beliefs as they do, and sometimes I even had my own little debates with these ladies over what I believe and what their Bible says. I always had my own strong beliefs that I thought were good and right. But even though I believed I was living my life in good standards, I knew still that something was missing. On this day, I had my little chat with the 2 ladies, as I sometimes did. Now looking back, it was a very good thing that I answered the door that day and not my husband. I say this because my little chat with these two ladies changed my life forever. If you are wondering if I have become a Jehovah's Witness, the answer is no, that's not what happened. I explained to them that I had no idea what kind of religion I was looking for, but it definitely wasn't Jehovah's Witness. Then one of the women said to me, "Ask God. Ask him what it is you are seeking and he will show it to you." Okay, well, she didn't say, "Ask God," exactly. She said, "Ask Jehovah." So I said, "All right, I will." When the two ladies left and I did just that. I asked God, "Lord, I am missing something from my life but I don't know what it is. Is it religion? If so, what religion is best for me? Please help me find the answers I seek." I asked God this several times a day for 3 days. I would ask him the same thing every time, not always in the same words exactly, but you get the idea. Then, on the 4th day I was on Netflix. Guess what I came across? The movie, The Secret. Once I watched the movie, I knew that this was the answer I had been waiting for. God had answered my prayer. I began to watch the movie over and over again. I just couldn't believe that the secret to life was really this simple. I had to know more, and so I began reading books about the law of attraction as well. This was exactly what I was looking for. It wasn't a religion. It was simply an entirely different way of living. It was a positive way of thinking and loving and living life to its fullest potential. It wasn't just praying, it was the way to building my own very special bond with God, or any higher being for that matter, so that when I talked to him, I could actually understand him when he spoke back to me as well. No, I'm not crazy and I don't hear voices. Okay, if you ask my husband, he'll tell you I can be little crazy at times, but not that kind of crazy. It's a different kind of hearing and understanding God, on a deeper level where we pay closer attention to the signs in our surroundings and listen with our hearts, not our ears. Living by default, when I started applying the law of attraction to my life on a daily basis, everything in my life started to go my way, all the time. Life just simply got better. My relationship with my teenage daughter got better. I saw major improvements in my skin and weight. I had all the energy in the world. Even the little things in life would always go my way. I honestly felt like I was high all the time, high on life. The intensity of this high feeling will depend on how strongly a person applies the law to their life. For some, it may be a mild feeling of a bit more happiness than they are used to. For others who use it to the fullest extent, it literally can feel like you have been placed into another world. Everything and everyone is exceptionally beautiful. It can feel as though you are in an out-of-body experience at times. For me, this is metaphorically speaking. But I have heard of cases where people meditated in such a profound manner that this has actually happened. Or at least the person felt it and thought it actually happened. You may feel a heightened awareness of everything around you. For those who use this universal law to its fullest potential, they will see colors become more vivid. Animal lovers may notice that they see animals more often and that the animals come closer than usual. Some people may actually be able to feel their own vibes they are giving off into the world and understand exactly why all these animals are coming around. Most people will find themselves making fewer mistakes and having fewer accidents. This is something I paid extra close attention to when I began using the law of attraction. As you'll learn from this book, no matter how strongly you are positively using this law, you will still have negative thoughts every now and then. These negative thoughts are manageable but not completely unavoidable. What I found is, when I have a negative thought, I will experience some kind of small accident or I would make a little mistake of some kind. For instance, if, all of a sudden I think of something negative, I will end up spilling something on myself or I'll stub my toe. When these things happen, I take notice of what it was I was thinking about at the time or shortly prior to the accident. About 95% of the time, my accidents happen as I'm having a negative thought or shortly after. I use these mistakes and accidents as a reminder to myself that my thoughts are not in line with what I want. Realizing this helps me to make a change and start thinking in a more positive way. The law of attraction works best when we use it towards specific things. However, when you begin using it with full force, it begins to work with everything else in your life even without even trying. You will notice the law of attraction working very effectively for everything you think about, good or bad, without any intention at all. A good example of this is the day my husband came home from work early. My husband never comes home early. But one day when I was using the law of attraction in full force, I said to myself, wouldn't it be great if he came home early today? That day was the first time in about 2 years that he actually came home early. I wasn't focusing on it. I had no reason to focus on it because the likelihood of it actually happening wasn't worth my efforts. It was just a quick thought that passed through my mind and that was all it took. Because I was using the law all day, every day, and for everything, the universe had become so accustomed to giving me what I wanted that I even got what I wanted with little to no effort put into it. This may seem like small potatoes, but if you knew my husband's work habits you might not think so. Also, because of his work habits, it was a very odd thought for me to have had to begin with. Any other day, it would have taken the building to burn down for my husband to come home early. But no, the building was still standing and yet my husband still came home early. As I said, when I began using the law of attraction, everything went my way. When I got in my car, I just knew I would hit all green lights while driving. And that's exactly what happened. I rarely sat at a red light. Every time I turned on the radio, the song playing would be one that I was just thinking about, or the lyrics of the song would completely pertain to specific things that were happening in my life at the time. Yes, I know. These coincidences happen to everyone. But they are not really coincidences at all. There is no such thing as a coincidence. Everything we view as such is simply the law of attraction at work. The law of attraction is working with every thought you have whether you realize it or not. The more you deliberately use the law of attraction to your benefit, the more of these coincidences you will see. You will see them happen all around you from the moment you wake up till you go to bed at night. It really does start to feel like you're in the twilight zone, quite literally. They mention something to this effect in the movie, The Secret, and it is 100% accurate. Once I learned how to use the law, I wasn't living my life by default anymore. I knew how to use the law of attraction. I understood with full belief that everything that happens in our lives, we are subconsciously bringing upon ourselves. Most people who don't understand this are living their lives by default. This means they don't understand what the law of attraction is or they don't believe in it. These people just keep living from day to day thinking, sometimes we have good luck and sometimes we have bad luck. Or, we play the cards we are dealt. They lack the understanding that we all make our own luck as a result of the way we think and feel. People think that what happens to us is the luck of the draw. They don't understand that we can put those 5 cards back and pick up 4 aces and a king if we so choose. Unfortunately, too many people who live in this manner end up with many more trouble in their lives than those using the law of attraction to their benefit. Many people don't have naturally positive attitudes and as a result, they end up with very few comforts in their lives. These people then become even more miserable due to their unfortunate circumstances, which they have actually been causing themselves without even realizing it. These people believe that their unhappiness is due to lack of luck, or uncontrollable and unfortunate circumstances not of their own doing. They have no idea that by controlling the way we think and feel, we can deliberately create whatever we want in life. People living on the streets can one day own a multi-million-dollar business someday if they could only learn to control their thinking patterns and emotions. Some people are positive thinkers naturally. If you are not deliberately using the law of attraction but you are one of these people who naturally carry positive attitudes and emotions, you will probably still end up with what you want. You will still be living your life by default, but by default or not, the law of attraction is still at work. Because of your positivity, the law is automatically working for you in a positive way. Your positive attitude is bringing about good things into your life whether you believe in the law of attraction or not. If you wholeheartedly believe that happiness and prosperity will be yours, then even by default, it will be yours. Next time you're out and about, whether at the grocery store, the mall, a park, or anywhere there might be a lot of people, take notice of those around you. Watch them. You can actually identify the people who either use the law of attraction in a positive way or naturally carry with them good positive-natured attitudes. These people hold their heads up high. They smile and they have a positive aura which makes you want to be near them. They will usually be dressed nicely and drive nice cars. You will see they are polite and cordial to others. You may come across people who have two of those items, dressed nicely and the car, but you will still be able to notice whether or not they are using positivity to get those things. If they don't have that aura, smile, and friendly attitude, unfortunately, it wouldn't be surprising if one day all their financial blessings disappeared, for that's what happens to most well-to-do people with negative thoughts and attitudes. These people either gained what they have by inheritance, or by being unethical or cheating. Some of these people have gotten to where they are by being good, honest and positive people at some point in their lives. Unfortunately though, if their attitude has changed since then and that positivity is not what you are seeing in that person now, it is inevitable that their wealth will not last unless they revert back to the goodness that helped them to get to where they are in the first place. I'd like to talk to you a moment about wealth. Wealth isn't only by financial means. When I say, it is inevitable that their wealth won't last, I mean all different types of wealth. Maybe these negative people will live and die with financial wealth in the bank while still maintaining their negative attitudes. But that doesn't mean that they will maintain a wealthy life as a whole. I have always thought the actions of men the best interpreters of their thoughts. John Locke: God created us, and this world with one thing in mind: our happiness. He wants us all to be content and satisfied with the life He has given us. His intention is for us all to live a life of luxury. These luxuries include health, happiness, love, satisfaction, contentment, good finances, and anything else you would like to add to that list. God has made this world work in such a way that we are all able to have whatever it is that we want. That's why the universe is endless and filled with endless energy as well. That energy that the universe is filled with is our never-ending supply of happiness for every human on earth. God has also given us another gift. He gave us free will. The meaning of free will isn't only about the choices we make when it comes to what we do. It's also the gift of choosing our thoughts. With this free will and the never-ending space of energy that we have been given to create with, we have the power to make magic happen. That is why they say that we are made in the likeness of God. This idea works without believing in God as well. Whatever it is you believe in, God, Buddha, the gods of Hinduism, the universe, it all works in the same way. We, as people, are not happy because we have things. We have things because we are happy. This leads me to another important thing that I want you to understand. It is okay to want things. There is nothing wrong with wanting more in your life. What is wrong though, is when you are not happy when you don't have it. Wanting things and needing them in order to be happy are two very different things. Feeling that you need something in order to be happy will always prevent you from acquiring your desires. Here are a couple little stories about wanting things. I used to know someone who claimed he didn't need much in life. We'll call this person John Doe. John Doe was happy with the bare minimum. In fact, he was supposedly so satisfied with having nothing that he would talk about others in a negative way for wanting too much. If he came across someone who wanted things or even people who already had things, he would call them money hungry. John Doe couldn't keep a job. Every time he got one, he would sabotage the job because he thought the position in the company he was given was unfair. He believed that because he was an assistant manager at one of his prior jobs, he should get the same position at his new job. When John was hired at entry levels, he would become bitter and unsatisfied. Because of this, he would get into arguments with the managers or call in sick until he was fired, or he would simply quit without notice. Needless to say, John didn't have much. He had a negative outlook on people, he always had an excuse of why he couldn't do something, and he believed this world treated him unfairly. Now, it's about 16 years later and not much has changed. John Doe is going on 40 years old and he still lives with his father. He doesn't have a job. He is on welfare. He doesn't have a driver's license, a car, or a bank account. It's very unfortunate. But his thoughts and actions have kept him in this position, which is exactly what he always claimed to have wanted. The reason John Doe doesn't have much in his life isn't really because he never wanted it. Everyone wants things. We're human. It's natural for us to want things. No, he doesn't have things because deep down he felt he either couldn't get the things he wanted and so it was easier just to give up on any hopes for them, or he didn't feel he deserved them. In reality, neither of these ideas he had were true. John could have had so much more. He deserved so much more. If he had only seen the possibilities before him and believed in his ability to achieve them, he would be living a completely different existence right now. But he saw money as a bad thing. People who had it were selfish. People who had it only cared about one thing, money itself. Because he focused on how unfair life was and because he focused on all the excuses of why he couldn't do something, he got all that returned to him. Even now, if someone tells him of job opportunities, his one answer is, "How can I get a job when I don't have a car?" If you mention the bus, his answer is, "How can I buy a bus pass when I don't have any money?" He never understood, where there is a will to do something, there is a way. John Doe isn't the only person I know who had similar thoughts as his. I, myself, felt for a long time that I couldn't do much either. The only job experience I had was in retail, restaurants or child care. After having my last 2 children, I didn't want to go into child care again. And it made no sense to get a retail or restaurant job because I would pay out more money for child care for my kids than I would bring in. Because I never saw my own potential to do more, I would simply tell everyone I was happy just staying home. I would say that I didn't need more than what my husband was bringing in. I was lying to my whole family, but most of all, I was lying to myself. The truth was I would have loved to bring in some income. I would have loved to be able to go out shopping and actually pay with my own money, money I earned myself. But being 36 years old and completely unaware of my skills, I had no idea that I was capable of it. First of all, I was embarrassed for not having done anything with myself by now. Because of this, if I were to have tried something and failed, to me, it would have made my failure look even worse. So, there is another excuse to not even try. And my reasons for not trying just keep going around and around. But if I were really honest with myself, I would say that my excuses were just that, excuses. I used to be very much like John Doe. At some point in my life, I learned that I would not be able to get the things I wanted in life. I learned and believed that I wouldn't become successful. So, why bother? It was easier for me to just give up and save the time, trouble, and embarrassment. I was one of the lucky ones. Too many people live this way and never learn the truth. Thankfully, I learned exactly how capable I am of anything I want to achieve in life. Once I learned this, I decided I wanted more. I saw my possibilities in front of me. I acknowledged the challenges, I believed I could do it, and I began making things happen. Had I continued believing that I was fine with wanting nothing, I would have never had it in me to become an author. Now, here I am earning full-time income, writing. Another one of my goals was to teach others to believe in themselves and show them how to achieve their goals. It can be done. I don't care how old you are. If you're still kicking, you still have time. If we want great things, we have to ask for them first. If we want a lot of things, then we have to ask for those things first. Once someone does learn about the Loa, they might want to do what I did, jump in head first. That's awesome, as long as they are also willing to learn all they can about it as well. As you'll learn from this book, if someone doesn't learn about all the little things that go into the Loa, then diving in headfirst is really a big waste of time. I have given you these stories to show you that, again, it is okay to want things. It doesn't mean you are greedy or money hungry. It simply means that you want for yourself the exact same thing that the universe or God wants for you. If you act as though you don't want things, you are limiting yourself and your potential. I am also using this as an example of what happens when we don't go after what we want, and that is nothing happens unless we make it happen. Want what you want and don't be upset if you don't have it yet. Be grateful for every little thing that you do have. Even if the only thing to be grateful for is the air you breathe, be grateful for that. When it comes to selling books, if you only sell one book in a month, be grateful for that sale. In addition, know that with this attitude, you will one day have the things you want and then some. Positive thinking absolutely works, but the law of attraction is so much more than that. There are many other steps involved aside from simple positive thinking. Positive thinking is kind of like the shell of a car. You have the base outline, but you still need the motor, the wheels, the transmission, and everything else a car needs in order to get you from A to B. We will get to all the other components of how to get the law of attraction up and running properly, but for now I want to keep things simple. If you decide to put the law of attraction to action and it by chance doesn't work the way you had hoped, what harm will it have done by simply giving it a try? You will only be exactly where you were before you tried it. That's another of the many great things about this. By trying out the Loa, there is never anything to lose but a whole lot to gain. Money, success, career, these are the number one reasons people begin using the Loa, but as said earlier, there is so much more that it can do for you. It can help us with our self-confidence. It can help us heal our emotional and physical ailments. It can help us with school grades, making friends, raising our children, making you better looking, you name it, and the law of attraction can help you with it. Every single thing that happens in this world and in our personal lives are all products of how we think and feel. This means that everything that happens, whether good or bad, are all based on our very own thoughts. Even if it's something that has been done to you, it was still your own thoughts and emotions that caused the other person to do it. If it was something that happened to you, it was still your own thoughts and emotions that caused it to happen. How is your own thought process? Be honest. Take a good evaluation of yourself and how you tend to view situations. Take a look around you and evaluate how much you have achieved compared to how much you would like to achieve. Are you where you had always hoped you would be by now in your life? If not, what do you think is holding you back? Luckily, there is good news. If you are unsatisfied with your current situation, know that your current situation is only the outcome of what you were thinking and feeling in the past. It has nothing to do with what you are thinking and feeling at this very moment. This means that if you start today and begin turning your negative thoughts and feelings into positive ones, you can reap the rewards of doing so in the future. There is no telling how long it will take for you to start seeing changes in your luck due to the changes in your thinking habits. Depending on how drastically and quickly you are able to turn around your thought process, you could see changes in your luck in the next 5 minutes, or the next 5 days. It's all up to you. We are in control of our own destiny. If your kids are sick and you keep saying to yourself, "That's it, now I'm going to get sick. I just know it," guess what? You're going to get sick. But if you think, "I don't get sick, I'm always healthy. I have a great immune system and I'll be fine," then guess what? You'll be fine. A good example of this is how my husband and I differ in this thought process. My husband is always deathly afraid when any of our kids get sick. This is understandable, because he always gets sick right after them. I, on the other hand, never get sick. If you think to yourself, "I'll never own my own home. I have horrible credit. It's impossible. It'll never happen," you will most likely never own that home or get your credit straightened out. It all depends on how often and how long you have been thinking in this way, and with how much emotion you have been putting into these thoughts. If for 40 years you say to yourself that you will never own a home, then during those 40 years you won't own that home. But even then, it's not too late. The very day you start truly believing that you will own a home is the very day that owning your home becomes a possibility. Even after 40 years of negative thinking patterns, you can still own that home when you begin to apply the law of attraction to your life in a positive way. The reason I use the words, "use the law of attraction in a positive way," is because whether we realize it or not, we are all using the law of every single second of our lives. You can't stop it. Every moment your brain is thinking, the law of attraction is working. The question is, how do you want to use it? These are your choices. You can use the law of attraction, deliberately and positively, deliberately and negatively. Completely by default you make the choice, or the law of attraction will choose for you. Truly believing or wishful thinking, with all the success people have had using the law, it still surprises me that so many people think it's all baloney. But after talking to people about it, I have come to understand why that is. The biggest problems with the law of attraction not working for people are due to these 3 things. 1. Most people don't actually believe with all of their heart and soul the law of attraction to be true. Believing in it wholeheartedly is absolutely necessary for it to work. 2. People who do believe in it don't have a full understanding of how it works. There are specific things that play a very large role in how it works. What's more than that, people may know what these things are, but are not grasping the concept of how to properly use them. 3. The people that do completely believe in the law simply don't know how to see or recognize the answers to their requests or questions when those answers are shown to them. Not recognizing the answers the universe puts in front of you prevents the actions we must take to attaining our goal. In this book I vow to do my best to show you how to identify when God or the universe is talking to you and how to understand what it is He is trying to convey. Most people who have tried the law of attraction think of only the basic steps, asking, believing, visualizing, and receiving. Then when they try these simple steps, of course it doesn't work. Doing it this way, people usually only see some small results. They might notice more coincidences than usual, or they seem to get a bit closer to their goals. However, because they did not follow all of the instructions in their most specific forms, these people never fully received what they wanted. I know that so many people truly want to believe, and some honestly think that they do believe in the law of attraction, but in reality, they don't. Maybe they want to believe in it because they have seen the law of attraction work for others, or maybe they are just open-minded people. Maybe some of these people have even seen it work for themselves, but they chalked it up to coincidence when their larger dreams didn't manifest. But subconsciously, somewhere in their hearts they have their doubts. As long as those doubts remain, it won't matter how much someone wants to truly believe in the law of attraction. It will simply never work out for them this way. And then there are the people like my husband who think that wishing and hoping is the same as believing. My husband always says that he believes that the law works. Unfortunately, along with those words, there is always a contradiction with the statement. For instance, my husband complains a lot about not being able to save money and about his long commute to work. When he complains about money, I remind him of the law of attraction and point out to him that the complaining he is doing is only causing more money-saving problems for him. Overall, my husband is a happy person despite his commute and money-saving issues. He is a joy to be around, and he really knows how to make people laugh. The kids love him to death, and he gives them all the attention they need when he gets home. It's just a few certain things that bother him, but when they do, he dwells on them. Dwelling on a problem is the absolute worst thing you can do. When my husband pays the bills, he actually allows his stomach to get upset over it. It's true, he tells me so. There is no reason that anyone should allow himself to feel this way about anything. Always remember, the more emotion you put into a thought, the faster that thought comes true. This includes all the things you are unhappy or nervous about. What's more, if it's already true, the situation will just get worse. It's not fun paying bills, I know. But always try to do your best not to dwell or allow yourself to get upset about it. You will have to pay the bill anyway, so really there is no point in getting upset over it. It's not going to change your circumstances. If you feel yourself getting upset over it, just start thinking about how thankful for the service or item you received that you are paying the bill for. If you are paying an extra large electricity bill and you begin feeling angry that the bill is so high, try and think to yourself, well, at least we have electricity. I am thankful that we at least have that. And if you have the money to pay that bill, think to yourself, I sure am thankful that I can pay this bill so that we can keep enjoying the electricity that we have. I have also heard of people writing the words, "Thank you for services rendered," or, whatever the service was provided. They write it on the bill, put it in the envelope with the check and send it off. There is a psychology to this, which we will get to a bit later when we discuss gratitude. I will be the first person to agree that my husband has a hard life. He has to commute, sometimes 4 hours of driving a day. Then he works 8 to 10 hours of hard physical labor. When he comes home every night from another long drive, he walks into a house with 3 kids who desperately need his attention. All the poor guy wants to do is fall asleep on the couch. Yes, his life is very difficult. But it doesn't have to be that way. I try and tell him that we can move closer to his work. It is absolutely possible. He has better credit than anyone I have ever met, and we own our home. There are definitely ways to do it. But all he keeps saying is, we can't move closer. It's impossible. I don't want to have a larger mortgage. I don't have this, I don't have that, blah blah blah. I have come up with several plans on how we can move closer. But, of course, my husband will always come up with something wrong with the plan. Instead of saying, I don't have the money, he should be saying, when we have the money we'll move and it will be great. If you think you can or if you think you can't, either way you are right. Henry Ford I love my husband. He is the best man I know. He has a great job, he brings in great money and he works harder than anyone I know. But if he really wants to be promoted, then he needs to stop saying that he never will be. If he wants to move closer to work, then he needs to start saying that it will happen in due time. It is only when he begins to focus on these positive outcomes that these things will begin to go his way. Sometimes when my husband comes home to me he says, "Boy, you sure have a great life, don't you?" He says this in a joking manner, of course. I just put up my feet, smile, and say to him, "Why yes I do." When using the law of attraction, you must find the bright side to every given situation, and yes, there is a bright side to every given situation. As I said, my husband hates his commute. I tell him that he should get some audiobooks or listen to the radio. Do you know what he listens to when driving home? He listens to talk shows about money and the economy. It's no wonder he hates his commute so much. I try and tell him to focus on the fact that at least he has some downtime before he gets home to us. He should try and think of it as his break before he gets home and has to work again. Always looking on the bright side takes practice and training and repetition, but it's a very doable thing. Many people are hard workers and have high goals and aspirations. Some people have big hopes and dreams and are wishful thinkers. These are great qualities to have, but it's not what true believing really is. Hoping and wishing is not what the law of attraction is about. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When using the law correctly, you cannot hope for something to happen. You have to know that it's going to happen. Holding on to dreams is an absolute must in order to bring them about into your life. But many people who hold on to their dreams also hold on to something else. They also hold on to all the reasons their dreams won't come true. What I mean by this is that they dream, but they also constantly keep in mind that it hasn't happened yet, and also, all the reasons it hasn't happened yet. Many of these people have the idea in their head that simply having high hopes and desires is using the law of attraction. Right there they are missing the whole point. It is never a bad thing to be a wishful thinker, but that is not going to bring you closer to your goals. Wishing and knowing are two different things. Another thing that will for sure hold you back from achieving your goals is pessimism. If you are living your life by Murphy's Law, everything that can go wrong, will go wrong, then guess what? By default, that is exactly what is going to happen for you. Pessimism and the law are on two opposite ends of the field. Try and remove any pessimism from your life. You will be amazed at the results you will see just by applying this one simple gesture. It is impossible to be pessimistic and believe in the law of attraction at the same time. Believing is the key to everything in life. If you want to become successful at anything, then you must absolutely believe and know for a fact that you will achieve it. Everything that we know will happen for a fact will happen for a fact. You may be someone who really wants to believe in the law of attraction but still have your doubts. You may find that there are moments that you really do honestly believe in it, and then there are moments that you don't. If you really want to believe in the law, then use the law to help you to believe and remove your doubts. Take those small moments that you do believe and run with them. During those moments that you find yourself believing in it, get excited about it and thank the universe for helping you to believe in the law of attraction at that moment. Everyone has doubts every now and then. Not necessarily about whether the law of attraction works or not, but sometimes even when knowing that it works we can still have doubts about whether we can make our dreams come true. This is natural, especially if you are just beginning to use the law of attraction. Use the law of attraction to help you to believe in it and your dreams to a greater extent. When you find yourself in a moment of full faith, be thankful for that moment and then ask the universe to help you to believe in it in this way more often. You will find yourself slowly beginning to have more and more faith in it as time goes on. And the more faith you have in it, the better it works in fulfilling your dreams. Only do this during the moments that you find yourself truly believing in it. Don't do it during moments that you are feeling in doubt. You can't trick the universe. If you try and thank the universe for helping you have more faith in the Loa during a moment that you are actually doubting it, those doubts will shine brighter than the northern star and in return you will keep feeling more doubt. E equals mc2. What does E equals mc2 mean? Through science, most of us know that this entire universe is made up of energy. It is one big ball of endless energy. Albert Einstein came up with the relativity equation of E equals mc2. E is energy, m is mass and c is the speed of light. The two simply means that the speed of light is squared. Simply put, energy turns into mass. Scientists have now proven that even our thoughts and emotions are energy too. Again, what does energy turn into? Mass. What is mass? Mass is things. So how does this energy, our thoughts, turn into reality? The Earth's atmosphere may only be so big. But God has given us so much more than just the Earth's atmosphere. He has given us endless amounts of space that goes on for eternity. This space is an endless supply of possibilities. Let's clarify that a bit. When we look into outer space we see the planets, the moon, the sun, and the stars. Yes, there is more out there, but let's keep this simple. What do we see in between all of those things? We see nothing, just empty black space. But that nothing is actually something. Every single bit of this blackness that we see out there is actually filled with vibrating probability waves or ether. This ether is where every single thing in this universe starts out into physical form. These waves are energy just like everything else that we can see and touch, and everything that we cannot see and touch, like thought, sound, and feelings, for these things that we cannot see and touch are energy too. We call these vibrating waves, probability waves, because they start out as energy that is probable to turn into anything we decide them to be, but will not become something until a thought is sent out into the universe to get it started. The very moment you have a thought is the exact moment in which that thought becomes something. The second your thought is sent out into the ether, it becomes a tiny particle in space. This is the very beginning of your thought being created into reality. Once your thought hits the ether, it becomes an actual, physical, and touchable reality. When the object of your thought has been created into this tiny form, it's up to you to move closer to it, and as you do, it continues to grow into its fullest form of your desire. Keep in mind that it's not only things that work in this way. Situations and circumstances are energy too. Basically every single thing and every single thing that happens is made up of energy, whether visible or not. If you have a certain something that you would like to happen in your life other than acquiring monetary objects or people, the law of attraction will work for that as well. For instance, finding your soul mate, learning to speed read, or getting better at a certain talent or sport. Okay, so that's great and all. All I do is think of something I want and then it exists. Good, great, grand. But how do I actually get it? Or, how do I actually make it happen? In order to attract what you want, you must get your own energy vibrating on the same level as the vibration of what it is you desire. I've been talking about thoughts. Just like your thoughts are what create that tiny little particle of your objects of affection in the first place, it is also our thoughts that get our energy vibrating on the same level of that object, bringing us closer to it. Unfortunately though, it's not quite so simple. In order for your thought to actually be sent out into the universe, the thought must come from your subconscious mind. We all have a conscious and a subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is what you use to do everyday things. It can tell time, read books, do math, and make everyday decisions. Your subconscious mind is where you hold your long-term memories and feelings. It cannot tell time. It is not what you are thinking, but what you are feeling. Your subconscious mind is basically what you feel in your heart. You must get your subconscious mind or your heart to work with your conscious mind in order to send the thoughts you want out into the universe. You do that through visualization, and we will get to that shortly. Do you pray? If your answer is no, then I'm here to tell you're wrong. We all pray whether we realize it or not. Every single thought you have is a prayer. Whether the thought is something you want or something you don't want, your thoughts are prayers that are being sent out into the universe, constantly. Our thoughts never stop, not even at night when we're dreaming. Even when you feel like you're in some kind of a daze, you are still thinking. Our minds just keep going and going and going, like the Energizer Bunny. As long as our thoughts are going, we are praying. There are a few very important details to this part of the law of attraction that you must fully understand. First of all, the universe cannot differentiate the difference from a good thought or a bad thought. It doesn't understand whether your thought is something you want or something you don't want. Because of this, using the words, I want, or I don't want are pointless. If you are thinking I don't want to lose my job, the universe doesn't hear the, I don't want, part of the statement. All it is hearing is the, losing your job part. Another thing is, the universe doesn't have ears. You need to understand that anything you say out loud will not be heard. If for a whole year you keep saying out loud, I want my boss to give me a raise this year, but in your head you keep thinking, I'm not going to get a raise this year. Guess what? You're not going to get that raise. God didn't hear a word you said, but He heard everything you thought. Ask and you shall receive. Recognize what it is you're truly thinking and feeling. Be fully aware that with every thought you have, it is actually you asking for something from the universe, and know that your prayers are being heard every moment of your life. The universe wants to give you what you want, so make it clear and ask for only positive things by focusing on only those positive things. In other words, be careful of what you wish for. Once you have put a positive thought or energy out into the world and the creation of it has begun, how do you actually get it? Acquiring what you want depends on these things: asking for what you want, your thoughts and emotions, your gratitude, for all that you have now and for all the things you are going to have, believing, having full faith that you will have what you desire, your visualization sessions. Following your intuition, taking action, letting it go, detach yourself from what you want. We will be going over all of these things in the coming chapters. You'll need to understand them well in order to get yourself closer to your goals. But before we get into the specifics on this list, you should first take a good look at what it is you are asking for and make sure it is your true heart's desire. This means that what you ask for must be something that you are willing to do almost anything to get, because that is how bad you want it. How do you know if something is your true heart's desire or not? If you can make up excuses or reasons for why you might not get it, that's a sign that you don't want it bad enough. That is not a true heart's desire. A true heart's desire has no excuses. We will get it, and we know that we will get it no matter what it takes. A true heart's desire is something you want with your body and mind, but it's also something you desire with your soul. Have you ever wanted something so bad that you just knew in your heart, without a shadow of a doubt, that you would make it happen? That is how you must feel about writing as a career. That's how I felt when I first decided to self-publish my first book. I was so excited about it that I wrote my second, third, and fourth book before the illustrations to the first one were even finished. Not everyone shared my enthusiasm. I was spending a lot of money on the illustrations for my first book, and my husband was nervous about it. I kept telling him that I just knew this was supposed to happen for me. I knew it in my gut that my books were going to do well and that I was doing all the right things to make that happen. I felt this with all of my heart, and nothing was going to stop me. Now, try and stay with me. The next few paragraphs are a bit tricky. Reread them if you need to. Some of you might be thinking, but Jenny, maybe your subconscious mind only knew your books would do well because your destiny was preordained for it to go that way. Maybe you automatically knew it because your subconscious mind was merely telling you what was going to happen anyway. You are right about one thing. It was my subconscious mind that put those positive thoughts there. However, it wasn't because my books were destined to well. Just like everything else in life, the success of my books could have gone either way. Even now, they still can. You see, I don't have any preordained destiny of what is supposed to automatically happen to me, and neither do you. We all create our own destiny in our lives as we go along. I didn't know my books were going to do well just because it was already in the cards for me. It was the other way around. I had to first believe in the success of my books before the destiny of it was created. So, why did I feel so strongly that my books would be successful to begin with? How and why did I just know that my books would be successful? I knew, because it was my true heart's desire for them to be successful. When something is a true heart's desire, we subconsciously know that we will do whatever it takes to make it happen. Because the success of my books was my true heart's desire, my subconscious mind already knew that I would accept nothing less, and so it continuously gave me the feeling of absolute certainty that it would happen. I was right. My books did do well. They did very well, because I wanted it wholeheartedly, and therefore, subconsciously, I knew it would happen. I wanted it enough that I wasn't going to allow anything to stand in my way. This is how you must feel about all the goals you set for yourself. Get yourself on that level. Successful people have passion for what they want. With passion come the perseverance, persistence, determination, drive, motivation, and inspiration to get what one wants. When you have passion for something, then it is a true heart's desire. It's only things you feel this strongly about that you should focus on making happen. If you ask for something you don't feel this way about, then you could be wasting your time and energy. If this is the case, you might be better off putting your energy into something you really do want. I hope I explained myself well and you didn't need to reread too much. But there is one more thing I would like to be understood. I have made it clear, I don't personally believe in any preordained plan for us. However, I do believe we have a purpose, and that is much different than a plan. Every single thing that is put here on this planet has a purpose, a reason for having been created. I believe God gave us a purpose without a plan. Then He threw us down here onto His little board game of life, and now it's up to us to figure out what our purpose is and how to best fulfill it. The sooner you begin living for your purpose in life, the better. When you are living for your purpose, you will naturally become a happier individual. You will automatically begin living your life in line with the universe. You'll be in a much better position to send out the correct messages of what you want. Your vibrating frequency will be more gracefully in tune with the vibrating frequencies of the things you want, bringing them to you faster. Once you find your purpose, you will find that the energy surrounding you will become more harmonious. You will feel yourself, are also in better alignment with the universe and all the things you want. The universe is trying to bring you the things you want, and you are keeping your energies open to accept these gifts. Your life's purpose doesn't have to be difficult. Too many people stress themselves out, searching for something that sounds inspiring or poetic. Most of us have unrealistic expectations as to what we think our purpose should be. We as individuals aren't meant to fix the whole world on our own. Don't get me wrong. It's not completely impossible that your purpose might be that you are a superhero. But the chances of it are so unlikely it would go against your best interest to ignore all your other probable callings, just for the sake that you might need to save the world someday. Finding your real purpose is a lot easier than it sounds. And it could be extremely beneficial to you and your success. Here are a few things that might help you find your calling. When you are trying to figure out what your calling is, the first thing you need to do is throw everything you know about money or currency out the window. You need to try and pretend you don't even know what money is. The second thing you need to do is figure out what you're passionate about. Your passion and your purpose will go hand in hand. You will not be able to find your purpose until you know what you are passionate about. So how do you know what you're passionate about? Answer some of these questions. If you can't think of what you might be passionate about right now in your life, try looking back on when you were a kid. Your childhood is where you will find you had the most passion. If you can't think of something you were passionate about, try thinking of something you were good at. You might even try that with your current situation. Sometimes if something is work, we'll claim to not enjoy it simply because it's work. Sometimes, we're on autopilot and really don't give much thought to it at all. Just think of something you're good at and really analyze it. You may find that it's actually your passion disguised as work. What were some things you loved to do when you were a kid? If you could pick one service you could do for others instead of monetary payments for general living expenses, what would it be? Now you need to take your passions, the things that you love to do, and brainstorm. Really though, if you just ask God to tell you what your passion is, He will tell you. And by the time you are finished reading this book, you should be able to read the answers He gives you. One important thing to remember is that most of the time a true purpose is a type of service or help to others. Yet, you enjoy it so much, you can easily forget you are the one who is doing the servicing. To you, it feels as though it's the other way around. You are getting the much better end of the stick. When you follow your calling, it is always something that either pays you in some kind of currency, or you will be financially taken care of in some other way. God doesn't send us here to do for others and have no way of having our own basic needs met. If you have no way to eat and nowhere to sleep, then that is a sign you are heading down the wrong path. But really, that's the wonderful thing about following your calling in life. Usually these are things most people don't ever have to deal with. The people who follow their calling are the ones who have fewer troubles, financially and emotionally. They are the ones who seem to be sailing through life without a care in the world. That's because that is exactly how they feel, happy, without a care in the world. Visualizing what you want is the electricity in which ignites the power within you to physically move your dreams into reality. One can only receive what he wants when he can see it actually happening. If you desire success, use the power of visualization to force your body into the actions needed in order to bring that success into your circumstances. This is not as easy as it might sound. As I said before, your desire must be sent out into the universe by your subconscious mind. To do this, you first need to get your conscious mind to work its way into your subconscious mind. Simply visualizing what you want isn't enough to make your dreams come true. Your subconscious mind does not feel exactly what it is your conscious brain is thinking, but you need it to for this work. Luckily, there are ways to force your subconscious into submission. There are certain things that you must add to your visualizing in order to force your subconscious mind to work in harmony with your conscious. To me, it's kind of like brainwashing your subconscious mind with your conscious mind. Most books you read on visualization say that you need to find somewhere quiet to meditate. Personally, this didn't work for me. I have never been one to meditate, so for me, if it was quiet, my visualization sessions always ended up feeling like work. This is not what you want. If it feels like work, then you're not doing it right. You have to look forward to your visualization sessions and have fun with it. If you're not looking forward to it and enjoying the process, you won't be able to get your energy vibrations on the same level as your desire. I agree that being in a quiet, peaceful place while you're visualizing is the best way to go, however, everyone is different. You need to do whatever is going to make you feel comfortable and keep your mind on track without wandering. A quiet, peaceful room might be exactly what you need, so I do recommend you try it this way before anything else. If you can stay focused on your visualizations in a quiet, peaceful room without having your mind stray about, then this will have a greater effect on the positive outcome that you desire. As I mentioned though, everyone is different. Quiet rooms don't work well for me, so I use music. I take baths every night, and when I do, I bring my phone with me so I can listen to Pandora. This works well for me. I enjoy the music, and therefore it helps me to enjoy my visualizing sessions all the more, which helps keep me focused on what I am visualizing as well. The music helps to keeps my happy vibrations, I like to call it, at very high level. I have actually had some very coincidental experiences with the lyrics of songs that would come on and what I was visualizing. I guess you could say, I had some Twilight Zone moments. As you are visualizing, you must see things as if you are still seeing things from your own eyes. This gives your visualizations the effect that it is actually happening to you at that moment. You should not be watching things happen to you in your visualizations. You must make it look as though it is happening at that very moment. If something were really happening to you at that very moment, you wouldn't be able to see it happening to you, would you? When you look at yourself without a mirror, you can see your arms, your chest, your legs, your feet. You can see practically every part of your body except your face. When you visualize, you should only see these things as well. Let's use a couple examples to show you exactly what I mean. Let's say you get paychecks in the mail. If you want to see a certain amount of money on those paychecks, this is how you would visualize it. First of all, you have to walk to your mailbox to get your check. Start by visualizing your hand opening your front door, and then take notice of the scenery outside your front door. If you look down, you can see your feet taking a few steps onto your porch as you step outside. As you are walking to the mailbox, you can see the mailbox getting closer. Now you are visualizing your mailbox right in front of you. Remember, when you are visualizing all of this, you cannot see your face. You can only see parts of your body, the mailbox, and the scenery of your front yard. Now you are visualizing your hands reaching into the mailbox and pulling out all the mail. You rummage through the mail, finding your check mixed in with all the advertisements and junk mail. Then you visualize what you would see as you close your mailbox and walk back into your house. Now you have to open your check. You see your hands holding the check. You can see your name on the front of the envelope and whom it came from. You then visualize your hands tearing at the seal and opening it up. You pull the check out, unfold it, and then you visualize exactly what the check might look like along with your name and the amount you wish to see on it. Then, you get excited about it. Before visualizing, it is best to know exactly what something will feel and look like. If you want to go on a trip somewhere, look up on the internet what the weather is like, temperature, winds, humidity, etc. If you want a certain car, go take it for a test drive to get an idea of what the inside of the car might look and feel like. If you want a certain house, drive by it often and memorize what it looks like on the outside. If it's on the market, go to its open house. Even if you don't know what the inside of the house looks like but you know you still want it, you can still visualize having it. Here is how. You can see yourself, not your face, standing in front of the house with a key in your hand. You see the house in front of you. Then you look down and see the key in your hand. You look over and in the driveway of the home you see your car and a U-Haul trailer with your spouse and a few friends. The U-Haul trailer is open and you see all your belongings in it ready to be moved into the house. You look down at the key in your hand again and start heading for the front door. You can see your feet taking the steps up the walkway. The front door is getting closer. Now visualize your hand putting that key into the door and opening it. When visualizing this way, it could turn out that you only end up renting the home. To prevent this, imagine you and your spouse talking about how wonderful it is that you own that house. Visualize a full conversation about how you own it and how happy you are to finally have it. Visualize your hands signing the paperwork, either to the house or the mortgage agreement from your bank. Now you aren't just renting that home. You own that home. If you want to see a certain amount of money in your bank account, visualize going to the ATM machine, depositing a very large check and seeing the available balance on your printed receipt. You can also visualize your hands typing in your bank account login info on the computer and then seeing your bank statement pop up. Know exactly what your bank account website looks like. Visualize the same thing every time. Don't switch up the things you visualize too much. Of course you can switch up the circumstances because you want more than just one thing, I'm sure. However, with each thing you want, try to keep your visualizations the same every time. You may find new things that you would like to add to a certain circumstance or wish, but once you know exactly what you want, stick with it. Changing it up will confuse the universe and therefore it won't know exactly what it is it's supposed to give you. An example of this is, if you have been visualizing a certain home you desire to have, don't change the layout or color of that home during your visualization sessions. You might do this when you are first starting out while you are still getting a feel for what you want it to look like. But once you know exactly what you want it to look like, try your best to visualize it exactly the same every time. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. The way the universe works is, it brings to us what it thinks we already have. Both your subconscious mind and the universe don't know whether you have something or not. If the universe thinks that we have something that we actually don't, then it works to make it so. Because the universe only gives us what it thinks we already have, it is very important during your visualization sessions to feel as though you already have your desires as well. If we want to get really technical about the Loa, it is not really our thoughts that we are sending into the universe. It is actually our feelings that are being sent out. The way this works is your feelings are basically brainwashing or tricking your subconscious mind into believing that you already have your desire. Have you ever heard the saying, they lie so much that they believe their own lies? This statement holds more truth to it than most of us realize. People can and do trick themselves into believing false realities all the time. And that's exactly what you need to do in order to transform your desires and wants into physical reality. To visualize is to see what is not there, what is not real, a dream. To visualize is, in fact, to make visual lies. Visual lies, however, have a way of coming true. Peter McWilliams. During your visualization sessions, if you are not feeling totally and completely jubilated over what you are imagining that you have, then it's not working. You should literally be smiling. You may even let out organic chuckles of excitement. You need to force yourself to feel exactly how you would feel the moment these things actually do come to you in the physical world. If you are doing it right, what happens sometimes is that once you receive what you have been visualizing, you realize that you were more excited during the visualizing than you were when it actually came into fruition. This happens all the time. Not that it's not exciting when your dreams do become a reality, it is. But it is that extra excitement you felt during your visualizing sessions in the first place that helped you to acquire or achieve it. Feeling this excited is actually quite easy to do if you honestly believe in the law of attraction and if you honestly believe that you are going to get your wish. This is also why I listen to music during my sessions. It helps me to feel good and the music carries me to another place in my imagination where I actually do have all the things I want. If you are not feeling the happiness that you should during your sessions, try forcing a smile onto your face. This works very well. If you're not thinking of great things, then forcing a smile can be very difficult to do. On the other hand, when you are thinking of great things, a forced smile will usually turn into a genuine smile quickly, and from there you will begin to feel happier and the happy feelings you are having become more believable. If when you try these things, you are still not feeling it, then you need to do something that is going to lift your spirits. When you visualize, try adding people or pets that you love into the visualization. This helps tremendously. When I visualize the home I want to live in, I visualize teaching my 2-year-old daughter to swim in our new pool, because we are going to have a pool. It's a must-have. Do not visualize people that you argue with or who have a habit of dragging you down. This reminds me of something, please allow me to sidetrack for just a moment. You will find that when you are using the law of attraction and you are feeling good, the law will automatically cause situations that help to prevent you from associating with sad or angry people. The law of attraction will automatically draw to you people that are on the same level of happiness that you are, and it will also repel those who are on a lower frequency of happiness compared to your own. This happens automatically most of the time. However, you may need to step in from time to time and moderate the people you see and engage with. Our emotions are extremely contagious. If you are hanging around people who are unhappy, don't be surprised when you find it difficult to stay happy yourself. Make sure that you do your best to engage with people who are going to keep you up instead of those who are going to bring you down. Remember that the vibration of your happiness is of the utmost importance in attaining the life you want. Okay, now back to visualization. There are a couple more things that I must make clear in order for your visualizations to work for you. You must make sure that the things you are visualizing coincide with one another and that they do not contradict each another. For example, if you are visualizing the house you want to live in, you better make sure that you can afford that house and all the bills that come with it. If you are visualizing the type of lifestyle you want to have and are also visualizing your paychecks, make sure the amount of your paycheck you are visualizing is enough money to pay for that lifestyle you are envisioning. If you want a dog, make sure it's the kind of dog you absolutely want before creating a mental video clip of it and sending it out into the universe. Although I love my dog, I made this mistake. I had never owned a dog before and now I have one. I should have gone for a dog that was already grown and trained. I should have researched the breed that I wanted first, now I have to deal with it. But like I said, that's okay because I love my dog anyway. Always remember, if you are not careful you could end up with things that you really don't want. Or you can end up with things you do want but can't afford or don't have the means to maintain. Again, be careful of what you wish for. I will be going over gratitude shortly, but while we are still on the subject of visualizing, I should mention this now as well. Make sure during your visualization sessions to thank whoever it is you believe in for the things you have right now and for those things you are visualizing having. Don't be thankful that you are going to receive these things. Be thankful as if you have already received them. Remember, the universe only brings us the things that it believes we already have. So be thankful as if you have already been blessed with these things. You should have visualization sessions on a daily basis. Make a habit or routine of it. You should take about 10 to 15 minutes a day to visualize. Each situation you visualize should only take about 5 minutes. The rest of the time will be used to get into a relaxed state or to visualize multiple desires. Visualizing is necessary, but you can do other things aside from visualizing that can help to achieve your goals. If you have a dream, it is always helpful to get as close to that dream as possible. This means dressing and acting the part. As mentioned, actually getting into the house or vehicle you wish to attract is a great way to do this. Even though you have not attained the things you desire as of yet, you should still find ways to associate yourself with those who have already attained the lifestyle that you dream of having yourself. Like your emotions, success is contagious too. Really good actors have a habit of becoming the person who they are playing while making movies. Becoming the role they are assigned to play on a daily basis, even when they are not working, actually turns them into that person during the make of the movie. The actors who do this play their characters better than those actors who don't do this. Real life works in the same way. When you become the person you desire to be without having really achieved the necessary success yet, it automatically sets your body in motion to make your wishes of becoming that person a reality. This is not only the law of attraction, but it also simple psychology. If you paint in your mind a picture of bright and happy expectations, you put yourself into a condition conducive to your goal. Norman Vincent Peale. Napoleon Hill did an experiment. Actually, I can't say it was an experiment because he already knew well of the psychology of clothes when he did it. At one point, Napoleon Hill went bankrupt. He borrowed money from a friend, but instead of investing the money in new projects that could have made him more money, he went out and bought himself a whole new wardrobe of the most expensive designer clothes he could find. He walked down the street in those clothes for several days. With no money in his pockets, Napoleon Hill felt like $1,000,000. One day as he walked, he came across a man who stopped him. The man was impressed by the way that Napoleon Hill was dressed, which led to a conversation about it. The way that Napoleon felt inside attracted to him this man, for this man was very wealthy, which, although Napoleon was broke, he also felt himself to be a very wealthy man. By doing this, Napoleon ended up with a great financial endeavor with this stranger and repaid his friend all the money he borrowed for his new wardrobe. The person we feel ourselves to be is the person that we become. If you want to be a millionaire, associate yourself with millionaires. If you want to be an author, associate yourself with them. Join clubs. Buy nice clothes even you find them off the clearance rack. Go look at the car you want to buy and take it for a test drive. If you want to get better at baseball, find some people who are really good at it and associate yourself with them. Be creative. Before I decided to write a book, I began sending myself fake checks in the mail. I got that idea from the movie, The Secret. It worked. Now I receive checks in the mail. Jim Carrey did this too. When he was first starting out, he wrote himself a $10 million check. He dated it for 10 years later and wrote on it, "For acting services rendered." Jim Carrey kept that check in his wallet for 10 years until finally he earned his first legitimate $10 million check. When I would clean my house, I would imagine that my nanny was doing it. I would walk around the house, and as I was cleaning I would actually pretend that my non-existent nanny was doing it. I would thank my invisible nanny by name and then thank the Lord for bringing her to me. I still couldn't afford the regular rate of a nanny, and I knew this. But I had a choice to make. I had to either find some help with my kids or put my writing on the back burner until my 2-year-old went to school full-time. About 2 months back I was in the middle of a book but couldn't get it done with both my young kids home all day. I was beginning to feel very frustrated and helpless. But then I stopped myself. I said to myself, no, I am going to find some help. I don't know how, but I will make it happen. Then I picked up the computer and searched Craigslist just to see what I could find. I actually found someone wanting to work full-time for $5 an hour. These were her own advertised rates. I called her, met her, and now I have a nanny. Do you know what the chances are of finding a nanny for $5 an hour in California? Like slim to none. And what were the chances of me finding her before anyone else snatched her up? Even slimmer. Yet I found her. I found her because I already believed and acted as though I already had her. Feel, act, visualize and believe that you already have what you want. Do this and soon, you will have it. Feel, act, visualize and believe that you are already the person you want to be. Do this and soon, you will become that person. Letting go as usual, simply asking your higher power to bring you something and visualizing it isn't quite as simple as it sounds. Well, actually, it is that simple. You see, when you ask the universe for something and after every visualization session, one very important thing to remember is to let it go afterwards. This means you cannot dwell on how or when the answer will come to you. You need to simply trust and have faith that it will come. This will help the answers that you seek come to you faster and more clearly. By letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. But when you try, the world is beyond winning. Lao Tzu, Chinese philosopher and founder of Taoism, when we have something, we don't wonder when or how it will come to us because we already have it. So when you dwell on those two things, wondering how and when, it is contradicting what you are trying to relay to your subconscious and to the universe. It is telling them that what you want is something that you don't already have. If your subconscious mind and the universe believe that you don't already have it, it is going to continue working to keep it that way. I know this sounds ridiculous and you're probably thinking, let it go? How the %@ and am I supposed to do that? Unless you have been training yourself on the law of attraction for years, this is almost impossible to do. What does a 1-year-old do when you tell them not to touch something? They touch it? What are you going to do when you know you are not supposed to think about something? You are going to think about it? If you are going to think about it anyway, why not turn something that is thought to be a no-no, into a positive thing that will actually help you in the end? When you find yourself thinking about what you want, try throwing in a very brief visualization about it. As long as you are doing all the other things mentioned in this book related to the Loa, this shouldn't be too hard to do this in believable content. When you find yourself wondering when and how something will come to you, it is considered to be a negative moment. But if you take those moments and throw in very brief positive visualizations about it only for about a minute or so, you will be taking those moments that are usually thought to be no-nos, and making them useful to you. With that being said, you still want to make sure that you are fully aware of your feelings at all times. If you feel that it is difficult to fully believe at the moment, then don't add to that negative feeling by adding visuals to it. First, put on some music, wait till you feel your spirits being lifted and then try it. As I said, usually when you are using the law of attraction on a daily basis, you are already in the zone and can do this with positive feeling attached with no problems. You can't visualize all day though. You will still need to try and let go of any worry and wonder about the situation as much as you can. Keep yourself occupied. Do whatever you can to take your mind off of it. Read, work, watch good movies, just keep busy. If you are having a hard time with letting something go, then just try to think as positively as you possibly can about it. A positive thought is hundreds of times more powerful than a negative thought, so if you think about it in a positive way most of the time, then it will override any negative worries that you may sometimes have about the situation. Detach. He who would be serene and pure needs but one thing, detachment. Meister Eckhart. In order to get anything in life it is necessary to want it with passion, but detaching yourself from it is just as important. Believe me when I say, if you are attached to something that you want, you won't get it. Likewise, if you are attached to something you already have, you will most likely lose it. Being attached to a want means that you want it so badly that you will not be happy without it. Being happy and content with what you already have, means that you are thankful and appreciative with what you have. You can want something with a passion without being so attached to it that the lack of it is disappointing. Being attached to something says to the universe that you are not happy and satisfied with what you have and that you will only be happy once you receive your desire. Being attached to something also says to the universe that you don't have what you want. People are happy when they have what they want. When you are attached to something that you don't have, then you couldn't possibly be completely happy. Thus, this tells the universe that you don't have it, and the universe continues working to keep it that way. Want great things, know that you will get them, but also be completely content with all that you do have. Everything that you have now should be enough to make you completely satisfied with yourself and the life you are living. Feeling this way will ensure to always bring you more gratitude. If you know anything about the law of attraction, then you understand that one of the most important steps is to be thankful. Being thankful for what we have will always bring us more of those good things. That's just the way life works with every given situation. We all want to be good people. If this is something that is not of importance to you, I promise you when I say this, having integrity and a good-hearted soul will take you further in life and bring you so much more joy than if you don't own these qualities. Having gratitude for all that we have is only a small part of being a good person, but it is certainly a must-have quality for being a good person. I could delve deeper into the subject of integrity, but I really don't think it is necessary. I will just hope that you understand the importance of having a kind-hearted soul, and that if this is an area you are lacking, you work on becoming the person God wants and has created you to be. So we know we should be thankful for what we have, not only because it is morally right but also because it ensures us more of those good things. But what about the things we don't have yet? Why should we be thankful for something we haven't even received yet? That is a good question, which deserves a good answer. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you, and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Take a look at the last sentence of the above quote by Emerson. It says, "And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude." Now, I don't know if he actually meant to be grateful for everything we don't already have when he wrote or said this. But if you think about it, it makes sense. He understood the law of attraction. He understood that all things we don't have are still things just waiting for us to acquire. Either way you want to look at it, take the quote how you see it, to heart. Here are some more down-to-earth reasons that we should all be thankful for what we don't already have. The reason we should be thankful for something we have not yet received is because the moment we have a thought of something we desire and have sent it out into the universe, it has already begun to form. It is in the beginning stages of becoming something tangible, and it is already on its way to us. If your parents sent you a check in the mail, wouldn't you still thank your parents over the phone for sending it even before you received it? You are the one who put the thought out into the world, so even though you have not touched, felt, seen, or experienced it yet, it still already belongs to you. No one else on this earth can add their emotions and thoughts to something that you have begun with your own thoughts. Your thoughts started it, and it's only through your own thoughts that it can turn into reality. Therefore, even if it's so small that a microscope couldn't even see it, it's still yours for the taking. Let's say you want to own your own restaurant. The very first time the thought of the restaurant crosses your mind, the reality of it had begun forming right then and there. At first it may be a really small and intangible little particle in space. But even so, you are the one who put it into motion, and whether or not it is in its full form or not, it still belongs to you. It's kind of like the stages of pregnancy. At first the fetus is really small. It needs time to grow into a baby. You must nurture it, feed it, and love it until it is big enough to come out and be with you. But even though it took 9 months, was there ever a time you thought this wasn't your baby just because it hadn't been born yet? Absolutely not. That baby was yours the moment you conceived. It works the same with the desire that you put out into the universe. It starts out small, but as long as you feed it, nurture it, love it, and help it to grow, one day it will be ready. It is up to you to use your positive thoughts, emotions, and love to help work your way up to the same frequency of your desire. We'll go into this in more detail in a bit. If someone buys you an expensive diamond watch but has put it on layaway, do you thank them right then and there for thinking of you and putting that expensive watch on layaway? Or do you wait 3 months for the watch to come and then thank them? But it hasn't even come to me, and I'm not even sure that it will, you might say. Back to the check in the mail scenario. If the check your parents sent got lost in the mail, would you not thank your parents for sending you the money anyway? I sure hope not. It's not your parents' fault the check got lost in the mail. They still sent the money. They should still be thanked. But why should I be thankful for something that is so small and hasn't even fully formed yet, you might say? Back to the restaurant scenario. Say someone bought you a restaurant but it was a fixer-upper. Would you not thank the person who bought it for you just because it wasn't a fully functional restaurant yet? I should hope not. Being thankful ahead of time also helps us get what we want faster. God sees that we are thankful. If we are thankful for it, then we must have already received it, right? And so again, God or the universe makes it so. Saying thank you before we get something proves to him that we honestly do believe that we already have it, therefore, he believes that we already have it. It proves our faith in him, or in the universe, or in whatever it is we believe in. Belief is, I believe, the biggest key to the law of attraction. You can do every single step perfectly, but if you don't honestly believe in it, there is no possible way for the law to work for you. Okay, well, there is one way. Even if you don't believe in the law, as long as you believe that what you want will happen, then it will. You must believe. And what better way to show that you believe something is on its way to you than to be truly thankful for it before you have received it? As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. John F. Kennedy. There is something I would like to add here which is a little off course of being thankful but has everything to do with what happens to our thoughts. I have been reading the book, The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. This is a 16 lessons course on the most valuable ingredients of success. In this book there is a section that talks about telepathy. Although there is no proof of this, there is a theory that says that every single thought that we have is put out into the ether, or space. The thoughts that we don't work on turning into our reality stay there in the ether temporarily. These thoughts stay there until someone else, whose mind is on the same vibrating frequency of a thought itself, picks up the thought as their own. Yes, this seems very far-fetched. But as I said, this book is meant for very open-minded people. This is the reason believed for telepathy and the reason that many people come up with the same or similar ideas as others. We basically pick up on the thoughts of others that have been lost in space. You have heard stories where people were accused of stealing ideas from others and turning it into something great, yet the person accused is very adamant that they didn't steal it. This makes me wonder if many of these cases had to do with this theory. With this concept in mind, even with the possibility of someone else picking it up, know that your thoughts are always still your thoughts. If a thought that you have doesn't come to fruition and someone else picks it up believing it to be their own, your thought is still out there and the other person simply takes your thought that they have picked up and creates their own new thought with it by changing it up a bit. So now there are two thoughts out there floating around in the ether, both thoughts very similar to one another. The original thought which came from you, and the thought that someone else has created from picking up your original thought. This is why it is very important to take your ideas and run with them. Make them happen by continually concentrating on them. If you have a great idea and leave it in the ether without using it to fulfill your dreams, don't be surprised when you see someone else living out that dream. But remember, your own original thought is still out there and so you too can still make something of it as well. Let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little, and if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't got sick, and if we got sick, at least we didn't die, so, let us all be thankful. Buddha, how does the law of attraction help us manifest? The law of attraction sounds simple enough, but how does it work? Imagine a piece of binder paper. The lines on the paper represent the vibrating energy waves that you are on, the wavelength your desire is on, and all the lines in between represent how close or far your emotions have you from your destination. On the top line you have your desire. On the bottom line you have your thoughts and emotions, which is where you are. Every bit of energy has a specific vibration frequency. This vibration isn't visible to the eye but nonetheless it's there. You yourself also have a vibrating frequency. If you were to put yourself under a special microscope you would be able to see yourself actually vibrating. Your mood is what determines how high or low the frequency of your vibration. When you're in a great mood the higher your vibration, and vice versa. Now think of yourself as a magnet. The rate of your own vibration will attract to you, like a magnet, the things that have the same vibration as yourself. The higher your vibration the better things and circumstances you will attract into your life. All the good and positive things in life will have a higher vibrating frequency. Your goal is to get your thoughts and emotions on the same vibrating frequency as your desire. At the first moment you put your desire into motion, you are still nowhere near getting what you want. Yes, you have sent the thought out into the universe and so your desire has already begun to form into physical reality, but you still have work to do before your desire comes to fruition. When you are using the law of attraction in a positive way, and using the rules and actions listed throughout this book, you will reach your goal. Each positive feeling you have about what you want brings you farther up the binder paper and closer to what you want. The more steady you hold your high vibrating frequency by feeling happy, the faster this happens. Maybe the first couple days brings you a few lines up. Then the next week you are halfway there. If you continue on in this way on a daily basis, it will eventually bring you up to the top line, which is where your desire has been sitting patiently waiting for you and growing with every positive thought you have had. This is when it actually shows up in your reality. Try and avoid roadblocks. You will have your bad moments. We all do. But with each negative emotion you have, it will take you longer to get to the top of that piece of binder paper. It's like taking a long cross-country road trip. You have your destination in mind and your route is already planned out. It's a straight shot from one side of the country to the other. Taking this easy route should get you there in no time. Unfortunately, every time you lose sight of the law of attraction, it's like hitting a detour sign. You can still meet your destination, but it will take you much longer now. Continually using the law of attraction all day and every day will help you avoid these unnecessary roadblocks and help you get there quicker. On the other hand, if you put a positive thought of what you want out there but generally have negative emotions, it could move you farther away from your desire. In fact, it will actually begin to bring you many more negative circumstances that you so wish to avoid. Even if your negative emotions do not pertain to the specific desire at hand, the negative vibes you're sending out will still cause an interruption in your progress. Be aware of all of your emotions at all times, whether they pertain to your desire or not. Many people try this new way of living by the law of attraction, but they don't learn how to catch themselves in their negative emotions. This causes them to hit so many roadblocks that it takes too long for them to reach their goal. This is where people start to lose faith in it and then drop it altogether. I don't want this to happen to you. Learn to catch yourself in your negative thoughts. Turn these thoughts around as quickly as you can the moment you recognize them. Use anything you can to keep an upbeat, happy, and positive perspective on life. Living a life of Zen, simply enjoying every moment for what it is the perfect way to help keep your vibrations on a high level. Read some books on the subject of Zen. It's not easy to just change your emotions overnight. But through practice and training, it can be done. There are so many ways you can turn that frown upside down. Use music, family, friends, hobbies, funny movies, pets, or read a good book. Just do something, anything to make yourself feel better and focused on the good stuff. Reading the signs every time we ask for something, we are given an answer. It could be that what we have asked for is directly brought to us. It could be that the resources to acquire what we want is brought to us. Or it could simply be that an answer to a question is shown to us. No matter what it is that we ask for, we always receive some sort of answer. It is up to us to recognize the answers we are given and use them to our benefit. But how do we see the answers? How do we know when an answer has been given, and how do we understand what it is our higher power is trying to tell us? Simple, we need to use our intuition. Our intuition is that gut feeling you get about something, you know that feeling. It's that feeling you get that tells you when something doesn't feel right, like maybe it's not such a good idea. It's also the feeling that tells you, yes, this just feels right, like you just know you are on the right track. This is the universe's way of talking to you. This is its way of telling you whether you are in line with achieving your goals and getting what you want, and this is the universe's way of telling you which way to go. When you have an idea that suddenly pops into your head, it's your intuition, and it's also God trying to tell you something. I am a children's book author, so I will use my writing as an example for you. My first story that I wrote was about a horse named Holly. Throughout the story, Holly meets many new animal friends. There was a part in the story where I couldn't think of the right animal to use for Holly to meet next. I would specifically explain to God my situation. God, thank you for all that you have given me to write so far. Now I would like you to please tell me what animal to use in the next part of the story. What animal should Holly meet next? Once I was finished asking God for what I wanted, I would immediately let it go and stop thinking about it. I began cleaning my house because this is usually what I do to keep me occupied in order to keep my mind off of what it is I am wanting. While I was cleaning, I was picking up my daughter's toys and came across a little rubber toy goat. That was it, I thought. That was the animal I was supposed to use in my story. I picked up many of my daughter's animal toys while I was cleaning that day. How did I know it was the goat I was supposed to use in my story? How did I know that this was an actual answer from God? You need to learn to use your intuition. God gives us answers to everything. It's up to us to see the answers when He lays them before us. We've already gone over our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. When God is trying to tell us something, our conscious mind can try and talk us out of listening. However, our conscious mind is needed because it tells us of the possibilities that can go wrong in life. We need these thoughts in order to be more aware and cautious in our actions. We need our conscious mind for our own protection. Aside from that, without our conscious minds we wouldn't be able to function. It would be like we were brain dead. We wouldn't have any thought at all. Without our conscious minds we wouldn't be able to feel emotions either. We need to have thought in order to feel a certain emotion about that thought. With the protection of our conscious mind come thoughts of logic. In the beginning, it can be difficult for one to know for sure that something is a message from the universe or God. We might think we see something, but our conscious mind will tell us, no, that's way too obvious, or simple. When we don't take seriously the little signs that we think we see, and we allow our conscious mind to have the last word, the answers that are shown to us could slip through our fingers. When we receive some kind of message from our higher power, we need to see beyond logic and find the real message that God is trying to send to us. So how do we do that when we have so many different and sometimes conflicting thoughts going through our heads? If you are not in total line with the universe, then doing this is much harder. But when we are putting the law of attraction into use, in full force, it is much easier to separate what our logical minds are thinking from the messages we are receiving from the universe. When I saw my daughter's toy goat on the floor, the first thing I thought was, that's it. The next animal I'm going to use in my story is a goat. Now I could have questioned it and thought to myself, but how do I know that's what God is really trying to tell me? As I said, I was in full force with the law of attraction, and any other thought that might have been conflicting with the goat didn't come. I just automatically knew that God or the universe was answering me, and so, I thanked God and went straight back to my story and began writing again. If and when you have a conflicting thought, always remember to go with your gut. It's usually the first thing you think of or the first sign you think you see. Most of the time these signs come in the simplest form. Don't think about how and when the answer will come, yet still pay close attention to your surroundings. Know for a fact that you have been heard and that you will receive an answer. If you do these things, then you will see your answer when it does come. Sometimes our answers aren't as noticeable as this example. Instead, we might have a nagging feeling, a thought that won't go away, or a thought that keeps popping back up in our minds. This is also our intuition, or God speaking to us. Follow those thoughts. Listen to them and trust them. Trusting in your nagging thoughts is trusting in God and what He is telling you. He will bring you every answer you require. It is up to you to see it and trust it when you see it. These signs can come to us in so many different ways. We could see something in a magazine. We could overhear someone else's conversation. We could hear a song or see something in a book. We might turn on a movie and someone in the movie might say something answering your question. You could see a store or restaurant with a name that might give you an answer. You could hear something on the radio, or you could simply, out of nowhere, get a brilliant idea. Read the signs, they are everywhere. Listen to your gut when you get an idea. It's really not your idea at all. It's your higher power's idea. He's just giving it to you. Here are some very interesting examples on reading the signs. I used the law for every aspect of writing my book and getting the illustrations done. Once my book was finished, I asked God how and where to find a publisher. I had already sent my book out to several publishers with no answer. So I waited patiently. Then one night, an idea popped into my head while I was watching the movie, The Secret. In the movie was Jack Canfield, the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. He talked about the story of how he used the law of attraction to get his career started, and he mentioned his publisher, but not by name. I thought to myself, Jack Canfield's publisher knew about him using the law of attraction. If his publisher knew I was using the law of attraction, maybe he would be willing to take a chance on my book. Now I know this must sound silly, but remember, with the law of attraction, anything is possible. Anything. I began searching the web for Jack Canfield's publisher. All I kept finding was, Chicken Soup for the Soul Publishing. I sent them an email with no luck. I needed an actual name. I asked God for the name of Jack Canfield's publisher and he brought it to me. One night I was scrolling my Kindle in hopes of finding a good book on the law of attraction. I came upon one of Jack Canfield's books and decided on that one. In the very beginning of the book, Mr. Canfield mentions and thanks his publisher, by name. Ha! I have a name. I wasn't even looking for it at the moment. God just brought it to me when I least expected it. The next part gets really weird. I now needed an address. Again, I went searching the internet. It turns out that Jack Canfield's publisher breeds horses. What? My story is about a little foal. Weird. But it doesn't stop there. This guy not only breeds horses, but his horse ranch is in the same city that I used to live in and where my brother and his family still resides now. This city is clear across the country. What are the chances of that? There were other authors on the movie I could have chosen to use. Why did I choose to search for Jack Canfield's publisher? I chose him because God put the thought into my head. God always knows the easiest and fastest way for us to achieve our goals. He knew that my chances of being published by this publisher were higher than they would have been had I chosen anyone else. In the end I did choose the indie route. But with all of these crazy, wild coincidences, who knows what might have happened had I continued visualizing meeting Jack Canfield and his publisher. But I have moved on since then and I am totally happy with the road I have taken. Everything that I wanted or needed just began coming straight to me with very little to no effort on my part. If you end up watching the movie, The Secret, you will notice the very well-dressed man in it. His name is Bob Proctor. This man has such an extraordinary aura to him. He was very fascinating to me. I kept thinking to myself, wow, I love this guy. I'd really love to meet him. I want to hear more of what he has to say. The next thing I knew, I got an email. It was an invitation to come and join the Bob Proctor Streaming Club. It is an affiliate marketing club that allows you to watch weekly live streaming of Bob Proctor talking about the law of attraction and how to become successful by using it. I wasn't searching for Bob Proctor online. All I did was like him and think how awesome it would be to hear more of what he had to say. And the answer of how to do that just came knocking on my door. Yes, when we use the law we do receive the answers we are looking for. But what's really interesting is that everything we think about also gets returned to us in some shape or form. When I began using the law of attraction, I became a bit obsessed with it. This is where some very uncanny, Twilight Zone-ish things began happening. Again, I'm going to use examples of things that happened when I was publishing my first book. It was during this time that I learned of the law and I used it very intently on my book and publishing. So these examples are the most clear in my mind to share with you. To give you a better understanding of why the incidences I am about to share with you are so uncanny, let me give you a quick rundown of my story. My story is about a horse that is in search for the greenest, most delectable grass. It has a theme of, you'll find it in your own backyard, there's no place like home, or, the grass is always greener on the other side. In the story, Holly hears a rumor that the grass is greener on the other side. She gets so excited about this that she sets out on a journey to find it. Holly runs through a field, climbs over a mountain and then makes her way through a forest searching for this delectable treat. There is a part in the book where it says, but she still hadn't found her greenest, most delectable grass. While I was writing my story and the whole time I was trying to figure out what to do with it once it was completed, I kept hearing one particular song on the radio. I heard this song every day, sometimes twice a day. It's that song from U2. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. If you're not familiar with the song, let me tell you what it says. I will run, over mountains, through the fields, only to be with you. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Now that's weird. This song isn't even the kind of music that comes on my radio station. Don't get me wrong, I like U2, but it doesn't usually come on my radio stations. Yet, for months I was hearing this song everywhere. One time when I was in my car, I turned on the radio but it was a different song playing. The music just reminded me of the coincidence of that one particular song playing constantly over the past several months. I began to laugh to myself about it. I thought it was very amusing. Well, it got even more amusing because it just so happened that the very next song that came on the radio after my little laugh about it was, U2, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Coincidence? I think not. I now know, for a fact, that there is no such thing as a coincidence. I kept hearing that song because I had such intense focus on my story. I was using the law of attraction with such intensity that everything I thought about was coming back to me in some way or another. Before I had simplified my book for small children, there was a part in the rough draft of my story where it said this, the sunsets back home are beautiful. All the colors of the land bounce off the earth and explode into the sky like fireworks. The very night I wrote that I went out into my backyard. A phone rang and I heard the man who lived behind us answer it. Keep in mind that I usually don't ever hear this man speak, but for some reason on this day, he was clear as a bell. My neighbor answered the phone and said, "Hey, how was the sunset? Did you see a lot of colors?" I have had way too many coincidences to ever again believe in coincidences. I was pretty much done writing this chapter you are reading right now, but I had to come back to it. Tonight, I was reading my daughter a bedtime story. At the moment we are reading The Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which my daughter picked out. We have never read this book before. While reading tonight, we came across a page where the main character talks about a stuffed elephant named Ellie. I thought this was very interesting. Right now, I just so happen to be working on the illustrations of my next children's book, which has an elephant in it, an elephant named Ellie. I thought I was being clever with that when I wrote my story. It turns out, the author of The Diary of a Wimpy Kid was just as clever. I just wanted to share that little tidbit to give you another example of the kinds of things you should expect to see very often, once you start using the law of attraction. One more interesting example on this and then we move on. One day my family and I wanted to take a day trip to a river that wasn't too far from our home. We didn't know where it was, so we called a friend and asked for directions. On the way there we were all talking about names that we loved. My 14-year-old daughter had recently seen the movie Children of the Corn, so she told us how much she loved the name Malachi. But she didn't just say that she loved the name. She is 14, so everything she says is very dramatic. She doesn't just like the name Malachi. She loves the name Malachi, with passion. He was the creepy one in the movie, the leader of all the kids. Well, we ended up getting lost on that trip and ended up at a different part of the river than we had originally intended. After about an hour of driving out of our way, we finally found a spot, unloaded, and began our day at the river. We were having a great time, just the family and I, when a man and his son floated up by boat to our little spot. They got out of their boat and ended up having a little picnic right next to us. We got to talking, and as it turned out, the boy's name was Malachi. The universe was working in full swing that day. We didn't have to get lost, and we didn't have to choose that exact location at that exact time. God brought us to that location because the law of attraction was working in order to lead us, or lead our thoughts right back to us. This wouldn't be uncanny if Malachi was even a halfway common name here in the States, but it's not. In fact, the father told us that he named his son after the movie, Children of the Corn. We weren't talking about names at the river, and this guy had no clue of our conversation in the car before we got there. Believe it or not, God knows it's true. Too weird for coincidence. Take action. Action is the foundational key to all success. Pablo Picasso. This last step is where most people fall off the tracks when using the law of attraction. And because they do not complete this last step, many people, unfortunately, throw it all out the window by thinking that the law just doesn't work. Many people think that when they use the law of attraction, what they want is supposed to simply come to them. This is the case sometimes, but most of the time it will take some kind of action on your part. Hey, this isn't a get rich while you sit on your butt scheme. Even with the law of attraction, you will still have to work for what you achieve in life. That is why it's called achieving your goals. High achievers spot rich opportunities swiftly, make a big decision quickly, and move into action immediately. Follow these principles and you can make your dreams come true. Robert H. Schuller. With this last quote, it has brought to my attention some truth that I had discovered not too long ago. These words, swiftly and quickly, are used in this quote. This is truer than meets the eye. Successful people own this rare quality, and it is a must-have quality for you to create your own success. I am going now into the subject of action, but taking action isn't just taking action, it is taking action quickly. You might want to overlook this very small, seemingly unimportant bit of information. However, I stress to you not to do so. I used to be the kind of person who could sit in a restaurant and look at the menu for a half hour if I was allowed. I refuse to ever do that ever again. I have learned that becoming a successful person is also becoming one who can make a decision as swiftly as the question has been asked. I won't get into the psychology of it other than to say this: time used on making decisions means that you are a person who doesn't know what they want. Obviously, knowing what you want is detrimental to making it happen. Also, the time taken on making decisions means less time spent on putting the decision into action. No further explanation should be needed on this last sentence. After you have asked, believed, and visualized, you must take action right away once you get a flash of intuition on your next step toward your goal. Any delay in this could result in that action not being available for later use. The quicker you take action on what your higher power is trying to tell you, the quicker you will get to your goal. Defer no time, delays have dangerous ends. William Shakespeare. This doesn't mean that you need to learn to make quick business decisions the moment you read this, especially if it doesn't come naturally to you. Start out with your small everyday decision making. Practice making quicker decisions and get better with it. In time, you will discover that this practice will begin to convert itself into your larger decisions and then also onto your business decisions. Achieving goals is work, but when it is something that you have a passion for, this work becomes your playground. Many millionaires don't seem as though they work very hard, and many of them don't. This doesn't mean that they don't do much to acquire their wealth. In fact, if we did what they did, it might feel like a lot of work to us, probably even too much work. That is because what they love to do and what we love to do differs. These people have found what they love to do and they take action on what they love to do all day, every day. That's why so many of these successful people don't seem to be struggling just to get their work done, because they aren't struggling. They are literally enjoying themselves as they are doing it. They have been doing it with such enthusiasm, passion, and perseverance that what they do comes easily and naturally to them. You need to find your passion. It needs to be something that you too will want to take action on all day, every day. That which we persist in doing becomes easier, not that the task itself has become easier, but that our ability to perform it has improved. Ralph Waldo Emerson. So many people look at the wealth of others and wish they could walk in their shoes, even if just for a day. Yet, most times, we don't take the time to consider the work and action that it took for these people of wealth to walk in their own designer shoes. One of the most important things for us all to remember is to never envy someone else's wealth, but instead, we should strive to acquire the desire and the determination to do whatever it takes to acquire our own wealth in our own way. We should all take action on our own life. We are given million-dollar ideas on a daily basis, and what's more, we are also given the means to transform those million-dollar ideas into our own reality. It's so unfortunate that so many of us have fear, lack of drive, or lack of desire to do the things it takes for us to live the same luxuries that we so often envy in others. When you get a million-dollar idea, don't delay. If you don't know how to get the ball rolling, stop and ask your higher power for your first step. Once you have received your answer and have been given a glimpse into your next action, don't delay. Do it now. Time delay, you may not get all the answers you seek right away. You may ask the Lord for something and do everything right, yet you are still waiting for your answer. You want to take action and you want to do it now. That's perfect, but you are still waiting for God to lead you in the right direction on what to do. Don't fret. In life, there is always a time delay for everything. Once I finished my first children's story, I sent it to the editor. I had never met this editor, and she was trying to convince me that I shouldn't try to publish it into a book because of how difficult and unlikely it is to do. Instead, she was recommending that I send it out to magazines and writing contests. Although I appreciated her advice because I know that it really did come from her heart, I had already made up my mind. I wanted my book to be published and there was no way to talk me out of it. I had sent my book to several publishing companies without a word back from them. My husband kept mentioning self-publishing, but, oh, the stigma. Self-publishing was for people who couldn't get their books published, not for me. Not for my book. Finally one day, my husband mentioned it again. At this point, I still hadn't looked into self-publishing at all. This time, just to get him off my back, I told him I would look into it. I searched the web and found out exactly how easy self-publishing my book would be. I was definitely interested now, but I was still unsure. When I asked God for guidance, I happened to come across a book on my Kindle about self-publishing. I wasn't looking for books about self-publishing. I didn't even know people were writing books about this. The book just happened to show up in the advertising area of my Kindle. So I picked it up and read. I liked what I saw, and so I began deliberately searching for more books about the subject. As usual, God brought me my answer. Obviously, I ultimately decided to go with self-publishing on Amazon, and with all that I have learned, I am so happy that I did. To this day, even if someone did want to publish my book, I'm not sure if I would actually take them up on their offer or not. Even if Jack Canfield's publisher called, I wouldn't know what to say. Had it not been for the time delay associated with the law of attraction, I may have never have had this opportunity. I could have ended up with regret. Everything that we want and visualize takes time to show up in our reality. There is a very good reason for this. This goes back to earlier. I have already mentioned a couple times to be careful about what you wish for. You must still be careful, but this time delay helps us so that we have more time to think about what we really want and whether it is right for us. The time delay helps prevent us from finding ourselves in a bind by giving us the opportunity to change our minds if needed. Many times, what we want isn't necessarily what is best for us. Or maybe you might want to change your mind over something simple, like if something better were to come along. The time delay is our safeguard. The universe knows the best ways for you to get what you want. You may have something that you want in mind, and you may also have in mind a way for you to get it. However, God may know of a better way for you to get it, or He may even have something better in mind for you. This is where the law of allowing comes in. As long as you are sending out a high-frequency vibration, you must trust that you will only be attracting great things into your life. Even if the universe doesn't bring you exactly what you want, trust that the universe only wants the absolute best for you. Continue on with your good moods, bringing about your high-frequency vibration, and allow the universe to bring into your life even better things than that of which you originally wished for. A great thing to do when asking your higher power for something is to ask for it and add the words, something more or something better, to it. For instance, you could say, Lord, please help me find a way to get 50 or more sales a day. Or you could say, I would like my book's rank to be 3,000 or better. This will help to ensure you get what you want or something even better. Have patience. Unless you change your mind, keep the vision of what you want in your heart and continuously know that what you have asked for or something better has already been set in motion. Great things are already on their way to you. There is no set time for how long something will take to manifest into your life. That all depends on you. It depends on how often you have your visualizing sessions and how strong your emotions are when you perform them. It depends on how you feel and the vibes you are sending out into the universe throughout the rest of the hours in your days. You are the only one who decides how long something will take. Acquiring $1 million could take the same amount of time as acquiring that new pair of jeans you have been wanting. If you believe that a large amount of money should take longer than a pair of jeans, then it will. Setting goals. Man is a goal-seeking animal. His life only has meaning if he is reaching out and striving for his goals. Aristotle. How can we accomplish goals if we haven't set any goals to achieve? We can't. We need to set goals to have something to aim for in our lives. Without them, we can only go so far. Why settle for mediocre? With set goals, we can reach for the stars. There is no such thing as aiming too high. It is possible to acquire $1 million overnight. But let's be real for a moment. It's also very unlikely that it will happen to you. It's not unlikely that you will acquire the $1 million, but it is unlikely that you will acquire it overnight from the moment you wish for it. With all this talk about thinking positive and everything is possible, why on earth am I going back on it now? I'm not going back on it. Everything that I have told you is absolutely true. Unfortunately, our subconscious minds are not so easily persuaded of this fact. We might know that anything is possible, but that doesn't mean that in our hearts we believe that it will happen to us. There is a way to get around this dilemma. You need to create 2 lists. You need to actually sit down and write them out. On the first list you are going to write down all of the things that you wish to acquire in your life. This might take a while because you should have on it everything you want in all areas of your life. Your career, finances, where you want to live, what kind of house you want to live in, your vehicles, education, your relationships, children, anything and everything you can think of should be on that list. When creating goals, they should not be easily attained. If something is easy to accomplish, then it's not really accomplishing much, is it? Your goals should seem as though they are almost impossible to achieve. Achieving small goals that are very easily accomplished is putting limitations on what you are capable of. In reality, there are no limitations on what you are capable of, so dream big. Your dream should be just out of reach, but not out of sight. Dennis Waitley and Remy Witt. You need to make sure that this list is very specific and detailed as well. What color, make and model car do you want? What do you want your house to look like, from size to the color of paint on the walls? How much money do you want in your bank account, savings account, and investments? How much will your annual income be? Again, anything and everything you can think of should be on that list. Remember, you can never aim too high. The higher goal a person pursues, the quicker his ability develops, and the more beneficial he will become to the society. I believe for sure that this is also a truth. Maxim Gorky. On your second list you are going to write down your short-term goals. What is your life going to look like 5 years from now? You may even want to have a third list with even shorter-term goals. The reason for the second and third lists is because, as said above, your subconscious mind may have a harder time believing that you will receive the larger things that are on your first list. Your subconscious mind needs to believe wholeheartedly what it is that you are trying to send out into the universe. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. When you break down your goals into smaller ones and work on achieving them in smaller steps, it makes it easier for your subconscious to believe that they will come true. Smaller steps may not always necessary. Some people can believe that their larger goals will manifest into reality and don't need to break them down. If you don't want to break it down into smaller steps with smaller and more believable goals, make sure you pay close attention to the way that you are feeling about your goals during the day and how strong your positive emotions are during your visualization sessions. You may even want to experiment. First, try some visualization sessions by using your long-term goals in them. Then try the same thing using your shorter-term goals that have been broken down. See how believable each of these set of goals are while you are visualizing them. You always want to go with the goals in which you have the strongest positive emotions for when visualizing. You'll want to place your list somewhere you will see it every day. Just walking by it is not going to be of much help to you. You need to read it every day or even several times a day. Most people read their list of goals at night right before they go to bed. Leaving it on a nightstand next to your bed is a good idea. I leave mine on the refrigerator. That way I see it several times during the day. I only read it once or twice a day, but having it on the fridge helps to remind me of my goals several times a day. You can start out small if need be, but do not sell yourself short. Make sure you have a list of large long-term goals as well. Everyone can achieve all that they want. The biggest problem is when people don't believe that they have it within themselves to accomplish greatness and therefore aim too low. Some have no aim at all. Too many people live their lives with no direction. No direction leads to little success. Have direction. Know what you want and keep the mentality that you are not only capable of achieving it, but that you are going to achieve it. You can make a name for yourself, and the higher you aim, the bigger your legend will be. Thousands of geniuses live and die undiscovered either by themselves or by others. Mark Twain. There is nothing different between the Steve Jobs, the Thomas Edisons, and the Oprah Winfreys of the world, and you. In fact, most of the greatest people in our history came from poverty and were uneducated. You do not need to be educated to become something great. Educate yourself in what you love. There is greatness within you. Find it and then set out to share it with the world. Make your own greatness happen. Anybody can do just about anything with himself that he really wants to and makes up his mind to do. We are all capable of greater things than we realize. Norman Vincent Peale. Your relationships. Once you begin using the law of attraction toward your relationships, you will be amazed at what happens. If there is something about a certain someone that bothers you, you can turn that around. It's not that using the law will completely change a person. That is highly unlikely. However, using these simple steps will either change the way that person is toward you personally, or the law of attraction will work in order to make the things they do not bother you so much. When you are not getting along with someone or they are treating you poorly, forcing yourself to think positively about them will definitely help to turn things around. Maybe there is someone whom you yourself don't care for much, yet there is no avoiding this person. Sometimes we think poorly of those whom which we would benefit the most by getting along with them, using the law for this. Even if you are the person doing the poor treatment onto another, could benefit you greatly. It could help with your love life, your marriage, relationships, your boss or co-workers and friends. No matter whom it is we're talking about, there's always at least one positive thing about everyone. Your first step is to find those positive qualities in that person. Whatever it may be, find it. It could be the simplest of things. It could be the fact that you admire their success, not envy their success, but admire their success. It could be that you like the way someone parents her child. It could be that you like the way someone dresses, or something as simple as liking the way they wear their hair. These positive qualities that you find about the person don't even have to have anything at all to do with yourself. Even if this person is only nice to one person in the world, it is still a positive quality. Sit down and write down every single thing you do like about that person. Don't make things up. You only have to write down one thing if that's all you can think of. You really won't have to make things up anyway. Even if it is only one simple good thing that you find about a person, once you begin to focus on it, constantly and intently, you will begin to not only see more of that one good quality in the person, but you will begin to see other positive qualities as well. Now, I'm not saying that if you focus on one good quality, that person will become Mother Teresa overnight. But over time, as you begin to notice more of the good qualities, you will more good qualities to focus on. It's a natural part of nature. From there, it works like a domino effect. The more good qualities you notice and focus on in a person, the more other good qualities you subconsciously begin to see. Don't forget to be thankful for that person's good qualities. If you forget this crucial step of gratitude, you may see a little bit of change in how you feel toward that person or how they are treating you, but it will only be to a certain extent. Being grateful will always take what you are given onto the next level. If you have conversations with others about this person, try not to participate in any negative talk about them. Even when that person isn't around, you should still focus on how happy you are about their positive qualities throughout the day. Once you stop doing this, don't be surprised if your relationship with this person goes back to the way it was before. You can use the law of attraction to better your relationship with people, but remember, you have to continue using the law in a positive way in order to keep those good relationships on a positive level. You can use this idea anyone, no matter what their ages are. I did this with my teenage daughter. She was very difficult to deal with. All she wanted to do was fight, or so I thought. But when I found the law of attraction and began using it regularly, I realized that she wanted to fight because I was constantly telling other people that she wanted to fight. Of course, everything I was telling other people about my daughter was coming right back to me. My relationship with her was very difficult for a long time, and it made it even more difficult to talk positively to other people about her. It was only when I began ignoring the behaviors of my daughter that I didn't like and began focusing on every good quality she had, that our relationship began turning around. Now, this isn't to say my daughter is a different person. I cannot change who she is. But I have found a way to make my own relationship with her better. If you are single, you also can use the Loa to find the love of your life. In a letter to the universe, or God, mention how grateful you are for the loves that you've had in your life, then write down all the qualities you wish to see in your future lover. Put the date that you wish to meet this person by and put it on your nightstand. Read it every morning and night and know for a fact that your soulmate will come. Keep the faith. The more faith you have that he/she will come, and the more often you read that list of qualities, the sooner you are bound to cross paths with them. Remember, even when we put the date that we wish to acquire something, it doesn't always happen on or by that day. As said, it all depends on how much positive emotion and faith you put into something that determines when it will manifest. Just keep reading the letter and it will happen. One of the most important things we have to remember is that our thoughts and feelings give off particular vibes. Others can feel whatever vibe you are sending out. If you are going about your life thinking things like, "Why don't I have anyone? I feel so lonely. I just wish I could find someone perfect for me." When you are feeling this way, you are giving off that negative vibe to not only the universe but also to the people around you. When people are happy and content with what they have, it gives them a brighter aura and makes people want to be around them more. It makes them much more approachable. When you feel negativity about the love that you are missing, it ends up repelling the love that you are looking for. Health. Before I begin this chapter, I first want to make it clear that I am in no way condoning or suggesting avoiding medical doctors if you have a serious medical condition. However, you should also know that the law of attraction could cure any kind of mental or physical ailment as well. As I stated at the beginning of this book, no, we can't simply grow back missing limbs. Instead, if you are using the law of attraction, you wouldn't grow back an arm, but you might receive an email from a doctor wanting to create a prosthetic for you, possibly even at no cost to you. With this beautiful blessing our higher power has given us, we have the power to cure any physical and mental sickness. We can cure phobias and weight problems. We can cure any kind of disorder you have. If you are someone who was born with a syndrome or disease, you may not be able to cure it completely, but you will be able to live a normal and better, more fulfilled life by using the Loa, even with these issues. I have mentioned in many of the previous chapters the concept of writing lists. These lists will be more useful to you than you realize. First of all, when we list things, we are listing every little thing that we want as specifically as possible. When we look at and read these lists, it helps us to remember these specific things that we want, in perfect detail as we wrote it. Sure, without the list, we still have a vague idea of what we want, but vague isn't good enough for the universe to understand exactly what it is we want. Using a list and reading it on a daily basis helps to embed these dreams of ours into our subconscious minds, into our memory, which is the key to getting what we want. When we have exactly what we want completely memorized, it ensures that we are able to ask for the exact same thing every time we visualize. If the specifics of what we are asking for is a little bit different than what we asked for the last time, this leads to confusion as to what the universe thinks you want. If the universe is confused as to what you want and what it believes you already have, or don't have, then it is impossible for your higher power to give it to you. So really, this list is more for your own sake. You are using it to memorize it so not to confuse your higher power of what it is you want. When you write your list of what you want to achieve in life, your wishes of health must go on that list. If you have a sickness or ailment that you are trying to fix or change, then write this down on your list of goals. If you end up with an ailment after you have already written your list, then update the list. Your wishes of health can be as simple or as complicated as you wish. Do you want clearer skin? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to level out your blood sugar? Do you want to quit smoking? Write them all down. If you have discovered that you have larger ailments that require medical attention, then while you are seeking that attention, write those things on your list too. Are you in therapy learning to walk again? Do you have cancer? Have you been stricken down with pneumonia? Do you have severe asthma? Many of the more serious ailments are always a possibility to cure as well. Even AIDS has been documented being cured by using the LOA. However, don't forget the discussion about how your subconscious mind must wholeheartedly believe that what you are asking for will occur in your life. Unfortunately, this is much harder to do with your more serious illnesses. So experiment with what your mind is capable of while at the same time, seeking out the medical attention you need. If you are sick, read your wish of goals daily, even several times a day. Continuously tell your higher power how happy and thankful for the health that you do have, and then be thankful that your major ailments are already on their way to being healed. You must live as though you have never even had the ailment to begin with. Medical attention combined with the use of your mentally positive attitude will bring more health and success to you than seeking medical attention alone. Use comedy, friends, and fun times to keep your spirits up as often as you can. You need to smile and laugh as much as you can. Do whatever you need to do in order to keep your spirits up and your own vibrating frequency on the same frequency as the health you aiming to acquire. Don't think the words disease or the name or symptoms of your ailment at all. Focus on only health. In other words, don't write down on your list, I don't want to have breast cancer anymore. Doing that is completely focusing on the fact that you have breast cancer, which is defeating your purpose. Write on your list, I am so happy that my breasts are healthy. Again, only focus on the health aspect of it, not your sickness. Mediating is good to use to help heal your body. Find a quiet place and spend a few minutes a day doing this exercise. Close your eyes and relax. Then start from the top of your head. Imagine a glowing or light of white or glitter, or any mystical design that you find a sign of positive energy and health. White is usually the best as this color is a sign of health. Imagine this swirl around your head and pulling out any negativity. Imagine this white swirl literally pulling out anything toxic to the body. This includes sickness, disease, and unpleasant thoughts. Then imagine the swirl surrounding your neck, shoulders, and arms, pulling more toxic energy from your body. Then the swirl will continue around your chest and abdominal area. Then imagine it around your hips, private areas, legs and feet. Once you have finished this process, you can take it one step further if you'd like and imagine this purity swirling through the insides of your body. Feel it go around all your vital organs, muscles, and tendons, etc. You can even imagine this magical swirl running through your bloodstream and veins. Visually imagine this white swirl collecting all the toxins, illnesses, and negative energy as it sails through your body. Then, watch it as it bursts, sending every negative thought, illness, ailment, pain, disease, or impurity, out and as far away from your body as possible. Watch the negative energy dissipate as it goes. Before I end this chapter, I would like to share with you an example of how being thankful for my health, and keeping my mind only on my health has worked for me. Believe this story or not, it happened. Before I knew about the law of attraction, I had a very small lump on one of my breasts. I never went to the doctor for it. Maybe out of fear or pure negligence, but either way I didn't go. Because I didn't go to the doctor, I don't know if this lump was malignant or benign. But it was there for a long time, and it was growing. It was growing, although very slowly. Every night in the bath I would look at it and feel it to see if it was bigger than the night before. This went on for about 2 years. Thankfully it never got bigger than a coffee bean. After learning about the law of attraction, like I said, I went into it full gear with it. In my medicine cabinet I placed a note where I could see it every morning. The note said, "My health is keeping me alive. Thank you for my health." This is something I got from one of Rhonda Byrne's books. At any rate, I read that note every morning and then repeated it over and over for several minutes each time I saw it. I would also read the note several more times throughout the day as I used the restroom. I would actually feel great too as I would repeat the phrase, "My health is keeping me alive. Thank you for my health." In addition, I also used the exercise above several times a week. For about 3 weeks I never checked the lump on my breast. I don't know why I didn't check it. I believe it was because I was so focused on the other aspects of my life that the Loa was helping me to achieve that I just didn't think about the lump. Then one night while I was taking my bath, I decided to check it. The lump was gone. Gone, gone, gone. After 2 years of worrying that I could have cancer, it was finally gone. There is a similar story in the movie, The Secret. I cannot prove to you that my story is the truth and not stolen from the movie. But I know it and God knows it to be true. So as I write this with tears in my eyes, I would like to thank you, my Lord, once again. Thank you for my health, for my health is keeping me alive. Thank you so very much. Feeling positive and happy prevents disease and sickness. When you get sick, it isn't only because you have caught it from someone, but it also because your emotions were not healthy. Disease and sickness cannot live in an emotionally healthy body. It is absolutely possible to cure yourself by having a positive outlook on life. However, it is much easier to prevent sickness in the first place by having a positive attitude than it is to cure it. Keeping yourself emotionally happy, thankful for every little thing you have, thankful for your talents, thankful for the air and the life that you have been given will help to ensure that you live fully and abundantly in all areas of your life. Money, health, love, friends, and power can all be yours. Qualities you wish to attain in your character. Are there qualities that you wish to attain in your own character? Do you wish to be more organized? Do you wish you had clearer skin? Do you wish you had more confidence? Do you wish you had more patience? If so, know that you can attain all of those qualities in your character and more. As the same with everything else, write a list of those qualities you wish to have and read the list daily. Believe that you can have those qualities. Then believe that you will have them. Simple, right? But there are a couple more things you can do. I have heard of others doing this next experiment and I recently began doing it myself. In fact, I read this in the book, The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. He stated that when a friend of his used this concept, his friend naturally began to attain all the qualities he desired for himself. He actually became a cross between many different people, so much so that others around him noticed as well. The experiment: think of those people who already possess the qualities you wish for yourself. At night while you're in bed before you go to sleep, play a little clip in your mind. Imagine yourself sitting around a table with each of these people. Go around the table having a short conversation with each of them, telling them that you wish to attain that one specific quality they possess. Then imagine each of them happily giving you their quality. You can imagine them actually handing the quality to you. You can imagine their quality magically flowing from them to you. It doesn't really matter how you do this. Just use your own imagination. This sounds silly, I know. But it does work. In time, the more you do this, the more of these qualities you will begin to see in yourself, as others will notice it too. Napoleon's friend used celebrities in his experiment. But you can also look for these qualities in other people that you meet on a daily basis. Admire these qualities in them. Don't just admire from afar, but make sure you tell the person that you admire this certain quality in them. Tell someone how nice she looks. Tell someone that they were very kind in a gesture they had just done. Tell someone that they give off a pleasing aura. Don't make things up. Be honest, and when you see something you honestly admire, tell them. This will do two things. The law of attraction will work to add those qualities to your own character. Plus, it will not only make the other person's day a whole lot better, but it will also lift your own spirits for the day. It's a natural reaction for us to feel good when we make others feel good. And that's what this whole book is about, doing whatever we can to feel good and in turn create our own success. You should try and do this at least once a day. The more often you do it, the more natural it will become for you. Additionally, the more often you do this, the quicker these great qualities you have been admiring in others will become a part of your own characteristics. As you do these things on a daily basis, don't forget to keep reading that list. When you first begin this process, you will find everything and anything in others that you find appealing. They might not necessarily be the items on your list. The more often you read that list of the qualities you really want for yourself, the more often you will begin to see those exact qualities in others, then by admiring them, in due time, those qualities will become a part of your own characteristic as well. Money is already a part of you. This is a concept that is difficult for some people to grasp. Everything in this universe is made up of energy. Because all the energy is connected, everything is one and a part of one another as one single being. There are no gaps whatsoever in this big ball of energy. So what does that mean for us? If everything is energy, including us, including the trees outside, including the planets and even everything outside our own solar system, then we are those things. Your dog is energy. The smoke coming from your barbecue when you grill is energy. Yes, we are all a part of all those things too. But we aren't only a part of those things. We are those things. There is no you, there is no me. Again, we are all one being. Each one of us, and each and everything this universe holds is simply a very tiny part of this one huge being. Look to your left. What do you see? Right now I see an end table. That end table is vibrating energy. It is part of this universal energy connection. Although the table is too far from me to reach out and touch it, the table is still completely connected to me. This is because there is an unimaginable amount of energy between the table and I, acting like a chain link, connecting me to the table. This chain link of energy connects us to everything. If you are living in the United States, you are actually connected to every single person and thing in China by this chain link of energy. I know, you got to this section of the book in hopes of learning how to get more money. Now you might be asking, okay, but what does all of this have to do with money? Come on already. But really, it has everything to do with money, and don't worry. I'm getting to it very shortly. Because we are a part of everything and everything is a part of us, we need to start thinking of the things that we want as already being a part of us too. Do you have a talent that you feel is such a part of you that, if it was taken away you wouldn't feel whole anymore? That's because it is a part of you. It is a part of your identity. This is how rich people feel about money. Money is a part of their identity. This is how you need to feel about money and everything else you wish to attain. You need to feel this way because even if you have only $5 to your name, money really is a part of your identity too, just the same as it is for a millionaire. I know this sounds crazy, but if everything is connected and there isn't one thing that is separated from this one big universal ball of energy, then we really have no personal identity. Our identity is a mixture of everything else in this universe. Think of yourself as if money is connected to you, as though you are one with it, because in reality, you are. Most people think of money as a separate part of themselves. They think of it as something they need to seek out. But once you begin feeling as if you are connected to it just as you are connected to every other bit of energy in this universe, you will begin to notice that you don't have to seek it. If and when you begin to feel that money is already a part of who you are, you will find that money will begin to flow into your life naturally. Wealthy people feel this way about money. They feel that it's already a part of their identity. It really is a part of everyone's identity, but it is the rich people who know this. Or at least feel it. They might not know what this feeling is exactly, but they still feel it. Money should be thought of as easily attainable and that there is plenty of it, not only for others, but for you as well. You are probably thinking, we are talking about rich people. Of course they feel this way. Money is easily attainable for them. But what we forget is that most rich people weren't always rich. There are many millionaires who have inherited money or businesses, sure. But most millionaires are self-made. They kept the frame of mind that money is easy to get for as long as they can remember. The universe then made money easily attainable for them. When they were broke, even after they became rich, they didn't worry about how or where their next monies would come. They just knew it would come because they had the understanding that money was already a part of them and was meant to be theirs. Once you feel this way yourself, money will also become just as attainable for you as well. This is how we should feel about everything we want in life. Remember, everything is energy, and all energy is connected, no gaps in the connection. Everything is a part of everything. I have talked about writing lists and visualizing. These are actually not completely necessary if you are in total line with the universe. If you are in a constant state of appreciation for everything you have and every wonderful thing you are going to be given, you will receive what you want without the lists and visualizations. When you are appreciative of everything, the universe believes that you already have everything and therefore brings to you more joy and fulfillment than you can imagine. Lists and visualizing are only tools that help as reminders for you to keep your focus on what you want. They are reminders to constantly keep your feelings and emotions in check. And reading and visualizing the things you want helps you to feel happy. All kids excited around their birthday or Christmas time because they know they are going to receive good things. They think about it for weeks, sometimes even months in advance. Thinking about it keeps them happy practically the whole month of December. This works in the same way for you. Thinking about the things you want keeps and knowing that you are going to receive them or even something better keeps you happy. As we discussed over and over again, your mood is what determines what it is that you are going to attract into your life. With this said, write down how much money you want to receive on your list of goals. Visualize it too. Use these two things as extra tools to help keep your emotional state and vibrating frequency at an all-time high. The higher you feel about life, the more you will get out of life. Have confidence. You may fail many times before you succeed. Everyone who has ever achieved anything in life knew they were going to do it. If you look back on your life right now, you will notice that with everything that you have ever accomplished, you had an emotional drive to accomplish it. You had kept the frame of mind that you were going to achieve that goal no matter what it took. You also had complete faith that you were going to do it. Do you know what happens to those who do not have the confidence that they are going to achieve a goal? They give up. It's inevitable. People fail all the time, but achievers sometimes have to fail and fail and fail again before succeeding. Babe Ruth, the greatest known baseball player in history, had the record for the most home runs during his time. But he also had the record for the most strikeouts during his time. Thomas Edison had 1,000 failed attempts at the light bulb before he finally got it right. Henry Ford went bankrupt 5 times before he succeeded. Albert Einstein didn't speak until he was 4 and didn't read until he was 7. Not reading till the age of 7 in this day and age isn't so abnormal, but Einstein's teachers described him as mentally slow. Yet look at what he has accomplished in his life. In high school, Robin Williams was voted least likely to succeed. That doesn't seem to be the case now, does it? What did all these people have in common? The stacks were against each and every one of these people, yet not one of them thought for a moment that they would fail as others thought. Each and every one of these people, despite what others thought, had the confidence within themselves that they would make their dreams come true, and they did. That is exactly how you need to feel about your goals and all of your endeavors. It's an unfortunate thing that not everyone automatically has this kind of self-confidence naturally. Luckily, there are ways to get around this wall. You are going to need to brainwash yourself just the same as we talked about brainwashing our subconscious minds. Believing in the law of attraction is a wonderful thing. There is so much that you can do with it. For many, believing isn't an issue, but instead, it's continuously keeping their emotions at a high and happy frequency that is the issue. We all have our bad moments. Even people who have been studying and using the law of attraction for years have negative thoughts. We can't prevent them completely, and as said before, we really don't want to, for they come from our conscious mind, which is something we need for our own protection. What we can do though is moderate these negative thoughts, and through doing this, we will train our emotions until one day the happiness that we feel will come to us as naturally as breathing. The keys training our subconscious mind are through repetition and positive self-talk. Although people like Jim Jones, Adolf Hitler, and Kim Jong-un have caused much chaos, destruction and pain and suffering in the world, may people believe them to be geniuses. The reason for this is because they were so good at brainwashing. But were they really geniuses? You might be very surprised at just how easy it really is to brainwash someone, and that it is even easier to brainwash yourself. Just like anything else that we learn to do throughout our lives, repetition is needed. Stand in front of a mirror and repeat this phrase: I am a successful, add whatever you want to be. I am so thankful that I have, state what you have and / or what you want to have. I know that I can and will do anything that I set my mind to. Thank you, Lord, or whatever you believe it, for believing in me and for helping me to believe in myself. Thank you for giving me the drive and the perseverance to help me achieve full success in all of my endeavors. Once you know exactly what it is you want, take this phrase and make it as specific as possible to what you want to achieve. You can shorten this in any way that you like, so as long as you keep the parts that you find most important to you. Also, remember that you don't need to have accomplished these things already. You are training your subconscious mind to believe that they have already happened, so that your bodily actions will follow suit and make them happen. This phrase may be difficult to believe the first couple times you say it to yourself. But the longer and more often you stand in front of that mirror repeating this phrase, the more you will start to believe it. You will start to smile. You will begin to feel excited about it. Once that feeling shows up, say the phrase a few more times and then walk away. If you stay in front of the mirror and repeat it for too long, you may start doubting what you are doing. Walking away from the mirror at a moment you are feeling positive about what you are telling yourself will prevent that from happening, so that, in case you do start doubting, you don't end up sending out a negative energy about it into the universe. I still do this on a daily basis. I still have my negative doubtful moments, but when I do this, it lifts my spirits. Even throughout the day while I'm cleaning my house or grocery shopping, I will say things like this to myself. I'm not sure if it's something that I will one day not need to do anymore, or if it's something that even the people studying this for the last 30 years still need to do from time to time. I just know that it works and that I will do it as long as needed. This should be done anytime you notice your emotions slipping into a negative area. You can use this for every aspect of your life. Sometimes I get a negative thought about the kind of wife and mother I am. I try to catch myself in those moments and immediately turn my thoughts around by telling myself what a great wife and mother I am. I just repeat the same thing over again until I feel happy about it. Then, I let it go. Make sure that every time you use positive self-talk, which should be very often, you thank the universe each and every time. I don't just tell myself what a great wife and mother I am, but I also thank my Creator for what a great wife and mother I am and for bringing to me my beautiful family to begin with. Sometimes it is hard for us to catch ourselves in our negative thoughts. That's what our feelings are there for. Obviously, when we are feeling bad, those feelings are being caused by our negative thoughts. When you notice that you are in a bad mood or feeling down, try and figure out what it is you are thinking that is causing these emotions in you. Use this to catch yourself and turn your thoughts around. Once your thoughts are turned around, it makes it easier to turn your feelings around too. This is also important to do for your physical health as well. Closing, you can change your life in any which way that you believe you can. You are no different than anyone else, as they are no different from you. We are all capable of absolute success. It's only the ones who know this and believe with all of their hearts that they, themselves, can create their own greatness. It is only those who believe themselves to be worthy of their own greatness, and it is only those who expect nothing less than, that create their own lives of pure greatness. There are no impossible dreams. Keep in mind, the more impossible something may seem at first is not only a possibility, but it is exactly what you should be aiming for. Aim high, expect high. If you fail the first 100 times, brush yourself off and do it again. You are a magical creature who was born to do and become anything you wish. You must first figure out what it is you truly want. Second, you must make a solid vow to yourself that nothing will stand in your way. Third, you must have complete and total faith that you are greater than you ever knew you were and more capable of anything that you ever thought before. You must ask for everything you want in life, then take all the steps to get you there. As you have learned in this book, it isn't as simple as asking, believing, and receiving. There is much more to it. But once you take the first step onto your desired road, there is only one way to go. Continue going in that direction you so desire. Become the person you want to be. Want it with all your being. Ask for it. Believe that you will have it. Then let it go, let the universe have complete control without wonder of when and how, and I promise, you will be given all the answers and tools you will need to get you to your desires. Be thankful for all that you already do have and don't fret over the things you don't have. Love and admire everyone, without jealousy. The more you love and admire others, the more others will love and admire you. Listen to your intuition. When you have a gut or nagging feeling, listen to it. Your intuition knows so much more than you give it credit for. It knows the exact route to get you to where you want to go. Become the person you want to be. Live your life with dignity and believe in the possibilities of yourself and all others of the human race. We are all connected. Use that. Because we are all connected, you already possess the qualities you seek. You simply need to find them within yourself. So now, go find them. Make them yours. Own them. Do this and you shall live your life with all the abundance that you were intended to create for yourself. My best wishes to you and all the success you can handle. Good luck. Best regards, Jenny Lovelace. Note from the author, I really enjoyed working on this book. The law of attraction has brought me so much joy and success that I never knew I could ever be blessed with. My goal in writing this was to share with as many people as possible, how they too, can accomplish whatever it is they want in life. If you found any value in this book, would you be so kind as to fill in the stars on the review page and write a few nice words? I will be so grateful to you for doing so. Here is to you and your very bright and fulfilled future ahead. Good luck and God bless. Thank you for joining me in exploring Jenny Lovelace's inspiring guide. I hope these insights empower you to manifest your dreams and create a life filled with abundance and joy. If you found this reading valuable, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more transformative content. Keep believing, keep manifesting, and remember, the universe is always on your side. Until next time, stay inspired and keep reaching for the stars.